When Jason Holloway opened his front door that cold evening, he couldn't believe his eyes. Michael Jordan, yes, the Michael Jordan, was standing on his porch. Jason was just 14 days away from losing his house. 14 days until his 9-year-old daughter Zoe would be homeless. He had $340 in his bank account and owed $18,000 to the bank. There was no way out, no hope left. But Michael Jordan had knocked on his door. "Jason," Michael said calmly, "I heard what's happening. Can I come in?" Jason stepped back, confused and terrified. What did his famous neighbor want? Was he here to complain about something? To tell him to move away? Michael walked into the small kitchen and sat down at the table, right next to all the foreclosure notices. The red letters screaming "Final Notice" seemed to glow brighter. "I need to tell you something about your house," Michael said, looking Jason straight in the eye. "Something you don't know yet." Jason's heart pounded. What was Michael talking about? And then Michael Jordan did something absolutely unthinkable. Something that would change Justin's life forever. Something that started 40 years ago with a man named Raymond Hicks. But what did Michael do? Why would a billionaire care about his struggling neighbor? And who was Raymond Hicks? Watch this whole video to find out what happened next. Because this story isn't just about saving one house. It's about something much bigger. Something that will make you believe in people again. Jason Holloway stared at the stack of papers on his kitchen table. Red letters screamed from every page. Final notice. Foreclosure proceedings. 14 days to vacate. His hands shook as he pushed the papers aside. The numbers blurred together now. $18,400. He had $340 in his bank account. The math was simple, impossible. "Dad, can you help me with my homework?" Jason looked up. Zoe sat across from him, her math book open, pencil in hand. 9 years old with her mother's dark eyes and bright smile. She had no idea. He'd made sure of that. "Sure, sweetheart." Jason forced his voice to sound normal. "What are you working on?" "Word problems. Mrs. Chen says I need to show my work." Jason pulled her notebook closer, grateful for the distraction. Anything to stop thinking about the house, the bank, the impossible situation crushing down on him. His daughter needed help with multiplication. He could do that. He could still do that much. The knock came exactly 5 minutes later. 3 solid raps on the front door. Confident, purposeful. Jason froze. His stomach dropped. Was it the bank? The sheriff? Had they come early? "I'll get it." Zoe jumped up. "No." Jason stood quickly, his chair scraping against the floor. "Stay here, Zoe. Finish your homework." She looked at him with those knowing eyes. Too knowing for a 9-year-old. "Okay, Dad." Jason walked to the door, wiping his sweaty palms on his jeans. Through the small window, he could see a tall figure on his porch. The evening light made it hard to see clearly. He opened the door. Michael Jordan stood on his doorstep. Jason's brain stuttered. He blinked again. The man was still there. Tall, athletic even in casual clothes, with that unmistakable face that Jason had seen on posters, commercials, and through his back fence for the past 3 years. "Jason," Michael's voice was calm, steady. "I heard what's happening. Can I come in?" What?" Jason's mouth felt dry. "Mr. Jordan, Michael, just Michael." He gestured to the door. "Please, I need to talk to you." Jason stepped back automatically, his body moving before his brain caught up. Michael Jordan walked into his small kitchen. The space suddenly felt even smaller. The foreclosure notices seemed to glow brighter on the table. Zoe looked up from her homework. Her pencil clattered to the floor. "Mr. Jordan!" she gasped. Michael smiled at her, a real smile, warm and genuine. "Hi, Zoe. How's that left-hand dribble coming?" "Better. I've been practicing like you said." Zoe's face lit up. Then she glanced at her father, confused. "Dad, what's happening?" Jason couldn't form words. His neighbor, Michael Jordan, was standing in his kitchen. How did he know about the foreclosure? How did he know anything? "Zoe, honey." Michael knelt down to her level. "Can I talk to your dad alone for a minute? It's grown-up stuff. Boring paperwork." Zoe looked at Jason. He managed a small nod. Okay. She gathered her books slowly, still staring. Can I get your autograph later? Michael laughed softly. We'll see. Go on now. Zoe disappeared down the hallway to her room. Jason heard her door close, but he knew she'd be listening. Smart kid. Too smart. Michael pulled out a chair and sat down at the kitchen table, right next to the foreclosure notices. He didn't look at them. He looked at Jason. Sit down, Jason. Jason sat. His legs felt weak anyway. Michael folded his hands on the table. His eyes were serious now, focused. The same intensity Jason had seen in old game footage, when Jordan was down by 2 points with seconds left. I'm going to be direct with you, Michael said. I know you're about to lose this house. I know you have less than 2 weeks, and I know you've been trying to handle this alone. Jason's throat tightened. How do you... I notice things. I pay attention. Michael leaned forward. Zoe mentioned you were looking for work. Your car disappeared. Your yard hasn't been cut in weeks. And 3 days ago, I saw you sitting out here at 2 in the morning with your head in your hands. Shame burned through Jason's chest. His neighbor had been watching him fall apart. Mr. Jordan, I don't need... Yes, you do. Michael's voice was firm but not unkind. And I'm here because I need to tell you something about your house that you don't know yet. Jason's heart hammered. What are you talking about? Michael opened the folder he'd been carrying. Papers rustled. Official-looking documents. Legal letterhead. Something that changes everything, Michael said quietly. But first, I need you to trust me. Can you do that? Jason looked at this man, this legend, this stranger who somehow knew his deepest shame. The foreclosure notices sat between them like a wall. I don't understand, Jason whispered. You will. Michael pulled out the first document. Jason, this conversation is going to save your home, but you have to let me help you. Will you let me help you? Outside, the sun was setting. Inside, Jason Holloway sat across from Michael Jordan, and somewhere in his chest, something impossible flickered to life. Hope. 3 months before the knock. Jason Holloway clocked out at exactly 6:47 p.m., same as always. 17 years at Midwest Distribution Center, and he'd never once left early, never late either. Raymond, the security guard, nodded as Jason swiped his badge. Have a good night, Jason. You too, Ray. The October air was crisp as Jason walked to his Honda Civic. 13 years old, but it ran perfectly. Elena had picked the color, silver blue she'd called it, said it reminded her of the sky right before sunrise. Jason pushed the thought away. 2 years since the cancer took her, and some days it still felt like yesterday. His phone buzzed, a text from Zoe. Dad, when are you home? I'm hungry. He smiled. 9 years old and already texting like a teenager. He typed back, 20 minutes. Start your homework. The drive home took him through familiar streets, past the grocery store where Elena used to spend an hour picking out produce, past the park where they'd taught Zoe to ride a bike, past the elementary school where Zoe was in 4th grade now, thriving despite everything. Their house sat on Willow Creek Drive in Highland Park. Small. 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a driveway with a basketball hoop that Jason had installed the year Zoe turned 7. The backyard was tiny, ending at a thick line of oak trees. Beyond those trees was the fence, and beyond that fence was Michael Jordan's estate. Jason had never planned to live next to a legend. When he and Elena bought the house 12 years ago, the property behind them had been empty land. Then the construction started. Trucks, workers, months of noise. The real estate agent had been excited. Do you know who bought that land? Michael Jordan. Your property value just doubled. Elena had laughed. Maybe we can borrow a cup of sugar. But they never bothered their famous neighbor, respected his privacy. Occasionally, Jason would see security guards walking the perimeter. Sometimes he'd hear parties in the distance. Once he'd seen Jordan himself through the trees, just walking his property. That was fine with Jason. He had his own life to worry about. He pulled into his driveway. The basketball sat exactly where Zoe had left it that morning. The garage door creaked as he opened it. Needed oil again. Add it to the list. Inside, Zoe was sprawled on the living room floor with her math book. Her dark hair was pulled into a messy ponytail, and she had that concentrated look Elena used to get when paying bills. "Hey, kiddo." Jason dropped his lunch bag on the counter. "How was school?" "Boring. We had a substitute. She didn't even know how to do long division." Zoe didn't look up from her homework. "Can we have tacos?" "Tacos it is." Jason moved around their small kitchen with practiced ease. Ground beef from the freezer, tortillas, cheese, lettuce. The same dinner they had every Tuesday. Routine was good. Routine was safe. "Dad," Zoe's voice came from the living room. "Can I try out for the travel basketball team?" Jason paused, the package of meat in his hand. Travel team meant fees, registration, uniforms, equipment, tournament costs. He'd looked into it last year, about $800 total. "When are tryouts?" "Next month. Coach Henderson said I should do it. She said I'm really good." Pride swelled in Jason's chest. Zoe had Elena's determination. When she wanted something, she worked for it. Every evening after homework, she was outside shooting hoops until dark. Rain or shine. "We'll see, sweetheart. Let me check our budget." "That means no." Zoe's voice went flat. "It means we'll see." Jason kept his tone light. "Come help me with dinner." They cooked together, Zoe standing on a stool to reach the stove. She told him about her friend Madison's birthday party, about the book they were reading in class, about how Tommy Fletcher tried to kiss her at recess, and she told him he had cooties. Normal, beautiful, normal. After dinner, Zoe went outside to practice. Jason watched from the kitchen window as she dribbled in the driveway. Left hand, right hand, between the legs like she'd seen in YouTube videos. The ball echoed in the quiet evening. His phone rang. Work number. "Hello." "Jason, it's Bill." His supervisor's voice sounded wrong. Tight, uncomfortable. "Listen, I need you to come in early tomorrow, 8 a.m. There's a mandatory meeting." Jason's stomach tightened. "What kind of meeting?" "Just be there at 8. Everyone's being called in." The line went dead. Jason stood in his kitchen, phone in hand, watching his daughter practice basketball in the driveway. The October sun was setting, painting everything gold. Their small house, their small life, everything they'd built. Somewhere deep in his gut, Jason knew everything was about to change. Outside, Zoe's basketball hit the rim and bounced into the bushes along the fence line. She ran to get it, laughing at herself. She didn't see the man standing on the other side of the fence, hidden in the evening shadows. Michael Jordan watched the young girl retrieve her basketball, watched her run back to the driveway and shoot again. Determination in every movement. He'd been watching for weeks now. The father who came home tired every night. The daughter who practiced until dark. The small house with the basketball hoop and the garden that needed weeding. Michael had seen a lot in his life. Fame, fortune, championships. But something about this little family next door caught his attention. Maybe it was the way the father watched his daughter practice, the same way Michael's own father had watched him all those years ago. Or maybe it was something else, something he couldn't quite name yet. Michael turned and walked back toward his house, his massive empty house. He'd remember this moment later. Remember watching Zoe practice that October evening. Remember the feeling that something was coming? Some connection he didn't understand yet. 3 months later, he'd knock on Jason Holloway's door. But tonight, he just watched and wondered. The next morning, Jason arrived at Midwest Distribution Center at 7:55 a.m. The parking lot was full. Every employee, it seemed, had been called in. Jason saw faces he recognized. Jerry from shipping, Paulina from inventory, young Kevin who'd just been hired 3 months ago. No one was smiling. They filed into the warehouse break room. Folding chairs had been set up. Management stood at the front, looking like they'd rather be anywhere else. Bill stepped forward, cleared his throat. "Thank you all for coming. I'm going to be direct because you all deserve that. Midwest Distribution has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Effective immediately, this facility is closing. Today is your last day." The room erupted, voices overlapping, questions shouted. Someone started crying. Jason sat very still. 17 years. Gone. "Severance packages are being processed," Bill continued, shouting over the noise. We're working with the bankruptcy attorneys. You should receive information in the mail within 6 weeks. 6 weeks? Maybe. If the lawyers worked it out, if anything was left after the bankruptcy, Jason had 3 months of savings, maybe 4 if he was very careful. 4 months to find a new job. 4 months before the mortgage payment became impossible. 4 months before everything fell apart. He drove home in silence. Zoe was at school. The house was empty. Jason sat at the kitchen table and stared at the wall. His phone buzzed. Text from Elena's brother Terrence. Heard about Midwest. I'm so sorry, man. Let me know if you need anything. Jason didn't respond. What could he say? Outside, a basketball bounced in a driveway somewhere down the street. The sound echoed in the afternoon quiet. Jason put his head in his hands. He had no idea that Michael Jordan had just returned home from a business trip. Had no idea that his neighbor was about to notice the car in the driveway in the middle of a workday. Had no idea that the clock had started ticking. 3 months until the knock on the door. 3 months until everything changed. But first, Jason Holloway had to fall. 2 months before the knock. The basketball sailed over the fence for the 3rd time that week. Zoe groaned, hands on her hips, staring at the tall wooden barrier that separated their yard from Michael Jordan's estate. The ball had bounced off the rim, hit the garage, and rolled straight into the bushes before disappearing over the fence with a soft thud. Not again, she muttered. It was Saturday morning, early December. Jason was inside on his laptop, searching job websites like he did every morning now. 6 weeks since the layoff. 47 applications sent, 3 interviews, 0 offers. Zoe knew her dad was stressed. He smiled less, ate less. She'd heard him on the phone late at night, talking to Uncle Terrence in that quiet, scared voice that made her stomach hurt. So she didn't want to bother him about another lost basketball. Usually, when the ball went over the fence, security would bring it back within an hour. Nice guys in dark suits who'd smile and say, "Here you go, miss. Try to keep it on your side." But it had been 20 minutes already. Zoe walked along the fence line, trying to see through the gaps in the wood. Nothing. Just trees and perfectly manicured lawn stretching into the distance. She made a decision. The oak tree near the fence had a low branch. She'd climbed it before, though Dad had told her not to. But Dad was busy, and she needed her basketball. Zoe grabbed the branch and pulled herself up. Her sneakers scraped against the bark. Higher, higher, until she could see over the fence. The estate was massive, rolling green lawn. A pool in the distance, gardens with flowers even in December, and her basketball sitting right there on the grass, maybe 10 feet from the fence. Easy. Zoe swung her leg over the top of the fence. The wood was smooth, recently stained. She lowered herself carefully on the other side, hanging from her arms, then dropped. Her feet hit the grass. She was in Michael Jordan's backyard. Holy cow! Zoe ran to her basketball, grabbed it. Mission accomplished. She turned to climb back over. "You any good?" Zoe screamed. Dropped the ball, spun around. Michael Jordan stood 15 feet away, wearing a gray sweatshirt and jeans. His arms were crossed. His expression was unreadable. I'm sorry." Zoe's voice came out high and squeaky. "My ball went over and I just wanted to get it back. And I didn't think anyone would see me, and I'm really sorry. I'll go right now." "I asked if you're any good." Michael's face stayed serious. "At basketball?" Zoe's brain felt scrambled. What?" Michael walked closer, picked up her basketball, examined it. "Worn grip. Good. Means you actually use it." He looked at her. "How old are you?" 9, almost 10. "Position?" Guard, I guess. "I'm not on a real team yet." "Why not?" "Because it costs money. Because Dad lost his job. Because everything is falling apart." Zoe couldn't say any of that. I practice at home mostly." Michael bounced the ball a few times. Then he threw it to her. She caught it reflexively. "Make 5 free throws from your driveway. If you can do that, we'll call it even for trespassing." His eyes glinted with something that might have been amusement. "But if you miss more than 2, you owe me 5 wind sprints." "Deal?" Zoe stared at him. Michael Jordan was challenging her to free throws. This couldn't be real. Deal, she whispered. Michael walked her back to the fence. There was a gate she'd never noticed, hidden behind some bushes. He opened it and gestured for her to go through. I'll watch from here, he said. And Zoe, use the gate next time. She ran to her driveway, heart pounding so hard she could hear it. Michael Jordan was watching her shoot free throws. Michael Jordan, from her backyard. She looked back. He stood at the fence, arms crossed, waiting. Zoe took a breath. Lined up at the free throw line Dad had painted on their driveway 2 years ago. Bounced the ball 3 times. Mom's voice in her head. Breathe. Focus. Follow through. She shot. Swish. 1! Michael called out. Second shot. Too hard. Hit the back of the rim, bounced out. Miss 1, Michael said. Elbow was out. Keep it tucked. Zoe adjusted. Third shot. Swish. 2. Better. Fourth shot. She rushed it. Airball. Miss 2. That's your limit. Slow down. You've got time. Zoe's hands were shaking. 2 makes, 2 misses. 1 shot left. If she missed this, she'd have to do wind sprints in front of Michael Jordan. She'd die of embarrassment. Focus. Breathe. She shot. The ball arced through the cold December air. Perfect rotation. Perfect trajectory. Swish. 3 out of 5. Michael nodded from the fence. Not bad. Keep practicing that left hand. It's weak. I will. Zoe couldn't stop smiling. Thank you for... But Michael had already turned away, walking back through the gate. It closed with a soft click. Zoe stood in her driveway, holding her basketball, wondering if she'd imagined the whole thing. Inside the house, Jason had watched everything from the kitchen window. He'd seen Zoe climb the fence. His heart had stopped. He'd been about to run outside, to drag her back, to apologize to security. Then Michael Jordan had appeared. Jason had frozen at the window, watching the exchange. Too far away to hear the words, but he could see the body language. Michael talking to Zoe, throwing her the basketball, walking her to a hidden gate, watching her shoot from the fence. When Zoe made the final free throw, Jason saw Michael nod. Just once. Approval. Then his famous neighbor disappeared back into his estate. Jason's hands gripped the windowsill. Embarrassment flooded through him. His daughter had trespassed, climbed the fence. Michael Jordan had every right to be furious, to call security, but he hadn't. He challenged her to free throws instead. Jason didn't understand. Zoe burst through the front door, face flushed and glowing. Dad! Dad! You'll never believe what just happened. She told him everything. The climb, the conversation, the free throw challenge. Words tumbling over each other in excitement. He said I need to work on my left hand. He watched me shoot. Michael Jordan watched me shoot. Jason forced a smile. That's amazing, sweetheart. But don't climb that fence again, okay? Use the gate if your ball goes over. He said the same thing. Zoe hugged her basketball. Dad, can I practice more? I want to work on my left hand like he said. Go ahead. Zoe ran back outside. Within seconds, the sound of the bouncing ball filled the quiet morning. Jason stood at the window, watching his daughter practice with new intensity. Every drill focused on her left hand now. Dribbling, shooting, layups. Over and over. He should feel grateful that Michael had been kind to her. And he did. But underneath the gratitude was something else. Shame. His daughter had to trespass to meet someone who could encourage her basketball dreams. Had to climb a fence because he couldn't afford the travel team fees. Couldn't afford the camps and clinics and coaching that kids with money got automatically. Jason turned away from the window, went back to his laptop. Job search websites, Indeed, LinkedIn, Monster, Senior Warehouse Supervisor, filled. Logistics Manager, requires master's degree. Distribution Coordinator, entry level, pays $35,000. Not enough. None of it was enough. His phone buzzed. Bank notification, account balance low. 2,947 nuwasad remaining. 2 months of savings gone already. Unemployment checks covered groceries, utilities, Zoe's school supplies, but not the mortgage. The mortgage payment was due in 12 days. $1,640. Jason did the math in his head. He could make this month's payment. Maybe next month too if he was careful. But after that, he closed his eyes, breathed slowly, Elena's voice in his memory. We'll figure it out. We always do. But Elena wasn't here anymore. It was just him, and he was failing. That evening, Jason went outside to bring Zoe in for dinner. She was still practicing, even though the sun had set and the temperature had dropped to 30 degrees. Her breath made clouds in the air. Her cheeks were red from cold. Zoe, come on. Dinner's ready. 5 more minutes, please? I almost got the crossover. Jason was about to say no, but then he heard it, a voice from beyond the fence. Widen your stance. You're too narrow. Can't change direction if you're off balance. Michael's voice, coaching his daughter through the fence. Like this? Zoe called back. Better. Now try at full speed. Jason walked closer. Through a gap in the fence, he could see Michael standing on his side, watching. How long had he been there? Mr. Jordan? Jason's voice felt rough. I'm sorry if Zoe is bothering you. Michael looked up, made eye contact through the fence gap. She's not bothering me. Kid's got heart. That's rare. Thank you for being kind to her earlier. You didn't have to. I know. Michael's expression was hard to read in the fading light. She works hard. I respect that. An awkward silence stretched between them. Jason didn't know what to say. Thank you felt inadequate. An apology for trespassing felt too formal. Dad, did you see? I got the move. Zoe was still dribbling, oblivious to the tension. Great job, kiddo. Come on, dinner's getting cold. Zoe grabbed her ball and ran inside. Jason started to follow, then paused, turned back to the fence. Mr. Jordan, thank you. Really, she hasn't been this excited about something in a long time. Michael nodded once. She's good. Keep her practicing. A pause. What's your name? Jason. Jason Holloway. I'm Michael. Not Michael Jordan. Just Michael. Your daughter asked if she could try out for a travel team. You gonna let her? The question hit Jason like a punch. We'll see. It's complicated. Because of money? Jason's face burned. How did he know? But of course he knew. Rich people always knew when you couldn't afford things. They could smell it. I should get inside. Jason backed away from the fence. Thank you again. He hurried into the house before Michael could respond, before the shame could drown him completely. Inside, Zoe was already at the table, talking a mile a minute about crossover dribbles and stance width and everything Michael had told her. Jason served spaghetti and listened and smiled, but inside his thoughts churned. His daughter deserved better, deserved coaches and teams and opportunities, deserved a father who could afford to give her those things. Instead, she had him, a laid-off warehouse supervisor with 2 months of savings left, practicing basketball in a driveway, taking coaching advice through a fence from a billionaire neighbor who probably felt sorry for them. That night, after Zoe went to bed, Jason sat in the dark living room. The foreclosure warning letter had arrived that afternoon. He'd hidden it in his desk drawer, under old tax returns where Zoe would never look. 60 days behind on mortgage. First official warning. Outside, the winter wind rattled the windows. Jason put his head in his hands and tried not to think about how far he still had to fall. On the other side of the fence, Michael Jordan stood in his home office. He'd made a phone call to his assistant, given specific instructions. Find out everything about Jason Holloway, address 428 Willow Creek Drive, employment history, financial situation, mortgage status, everything. May I ask why, sir? Michael looked out his window toward the small house next door. The lights were off now, except for one bedroom. The little girl's room, probably. Still awake, still thinking about basketball. Just do it, Michael said quietly, and keep it discreet. He'd seen something tonight, in the way Jason looked at his daughter, in the shame that flickered across his face when asked about the travel team. Michael recognized that look. He'd seen it before, on his own father's face decades ago, when the plant closed and the world fell apart. Some things you never forget, some debts you can never repay directly, but maybe you can pay them forward. Michael closed his laptop and headed to bed. Outside his window, snow had started to fall, the first snow of winter. covering everything in white, covering the fence between two houses, covering the gap between two worlds. For now. 6 weeks before the knock, Jason sat in the waiting room of Brookfield Logistics, his third interview in as many weeks. His only suit, the one he'd worn to Elena's funeral, felt tight around the collar. He'd gained weight, or maybe lost it. He couldn't tell anymore. The receptionist smiled politely. "Mr. Brennan will see you in just a few minutes." Jason nodded, checked his phone. 2:47 p.m. The interview was scheduled for 2:30. They were making him wait. Not a good sign. His email inbox showed 23 new rejections since yesterday. "Thank you for your interest. We've decided to move forward with other candidates. We'll keep your resume on file." All lies, polite lies. The problem was simple. Jason was 42 years old with 17 years of warehouse experience. No college degree, no special certifications, just hard work and loyalty, and neither of those things mattered anymore. He was too qualified for entry-level positions, not qualified enough for management, too old to start over, too young to retire, stuck. "Mr. Holloway?" A man in his 30s appeared, clipboard in hand. "I'm Derek Brennan. Sorry for the wait." The interview lasted 12 minutes. Jason could tell within the first 3 that it was over. Brennan barely looked at him, asked questions while typing on his phone. Distribution coordinator position, $38,000 a year, less than half what Jason used to make. "We're looking for someone who can grow with the company," Brennan said. "Someone early in their career." Translation, someone younger. "I understand," Jason said, "but I have 17 years of—" "We'll be in touch." Brennan stood up, extended his hand. "Thanks for coming in." Jason drove home in silence. The Honda made a new rattling sound, probably the transmission. He couldn't afford to fix it. His phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello? Mr. Holloway, this is Jennifer from First National Bank. I'm calling about your mortgage account." Jason's stomach clenched. "I'm working on it. I'll have the payment soon." "Sir, you're now 90 days past due. We need to discuss your options." "I need more time." "I understand, but—" Jason hung up. His hands shook on the steering wheel. 90 days past due, 3 missed payments. Foreclosure was no longer a warning. It was happening. That evening, Jason couldn't eat dinner. Zoe noticed. She always noticed. "Dad, you didn't touch your chicken." "Not hungry, sweetheart." Jason pushed rice around his plate. "You can have it if you want." Zoe stared at him, those dark eyes so much like Elena's, seeing everything. "Did you get the job?" "Not yet. Still waiting to hear back." Another lie. He was getting good at lying to his daughter. Zoe put down her fork. "Dad, I know something's wrong. I'm not stupid." Jason looked up, tried to smile. "Nothing's wrong, Zoe, I promise. You don't eat anymore. You stay up really late. Uncle Terrence keeps calling, and you talk in whispers." Her voice cracked. "And I heard you crying last week, in Mom's closet." The world stopped. Jason had thought she was asleep. It was 2 a.m, and he'd gone into Elena's closet, the one he still couldn't clean out, and he'd broken down. Sobbed into her clothes that still smelled like her perfume. He didn't know Zoe had heard. "Sweetheart," his voice failed. "Are we going to be okay?" Zoe whispered. Jason wanted to lie again. Wanted to say, of course, "Everything's fine, don't worry." But looking at his daughter's face, he couldn't do it. "I don't know," he said quietly. "I'm trying. I promise I'm trying." Zoe got up from her chair, walked around the table, hugged him. Jason held his daughter and felt like the biggest failure in the world. The next morning, Jason sold Elena's car. The Camry had been sitting in the garage for 2 years. He couldn't bring himself to drive it. Couldn't bring himself to sell it either. It was hers, her favorite color. Deep red. She'd called it her cherry car. But he needed money, desperately. The dealer offered him $3,200. It was worth at least $5,000, but Jason didn't have time to negotiate. He took the check. That afternoon, he went to his brother's house. Terrence lived in a small apartment on the south side. Divorced, 2 kids who visited on weekends. He worked as a diesel mechanic. Good money, but not enough to help much. "I can give you $800, Terrence said, pulling out his checkbook. "It's all I've got until next paycheck." Terry, I can't. Yes, you can. Elena was my sister. Your family. Terrence wrote the check with shaking hands. I wish I could do more. Jason took the check, felt his throat close up. I'll pay you back. I know you will. Terrence gripped his shoulder. You're going to get through this. Jason nodded. Didn't believe it. He deposited both checks that evening. Total $4,000. Combined with what was left in his account, he had $5,800. The back mortgage payments totaled $4,920. That left him with $880 for food, utilities, gas, insurance, Zoe's school supplies, for everything. Jason sat in the bank parking lot and did the math over and over, hoping the numbers would change. They didn't. 2 weeks later, Jason got a night shift job at Save Mart grocery store. Stocking shelves 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., minimum wage, $15 an hour. He took it without hesitation. The manager, a tired woman named Carol, looked at his resume with raised eyebrows. You're overqualified for this. I need the work. Okay. She handed him a uniform shirt. You start tomorrow. Don't be late. Jason worked 6 nights a week, came home at 7:30 a.m., slept until 2 p.m., woke up to get Zoe from school, made dinner, applied for jobs, went back to Save Mart at 10:30 p.m. The schedule was destroying him, but it brought in about $2,000 a month. Combined with unemployment, it was almost enough for the mortgage. Almost, not quite. The gaps kept growing. Electric bill past due, internet shut off, water company sent a warning. Jason stopped buying lunch, stopped buying anything unnecessary, wore the same clothes until they had holes, rationed food, gave Zoe larger portions, told her he'd eaten at work. Another lie. His body started giving out, lost 20 pounds in a month, dark circles under his eyes, hands shaking from exhaustion. Zoe stopped asking questions, but she watched him with worried eyes. One night in early January, Jason came home from Save Mart at dawn. Zoe was already awake, sitting at the kitchen table in her pajamas. Her backpack was packed, but she wasn't getting ready for school. She was crying. Jason dropped his keys, rushed to her. What's wrong? Are you sick? Zoe shook her head, held up a piece of paper. Permission slip. School field trip to the Science Museum. Cost $35. Everyone's going, Zoe whispered, but I told Mrs. Chen I can't. I said I'm busy that day. Jason took the paper with numb fingers. $35. He had $41 in his checking account until next paycheck. Sweetheart, we can... It's okay, Dad. Zoe wiped her eyes. I don't really want to go anyway. Museums are boring. She was lying. Zoe loved museums. She'd talked about this field trip for weeks. Zoe, I have to get ready for school. She grabbed her backpack and ran upstairs. Jason sat alone in the kitchen, holding a permission slip for $35 he didn't have. This is what poverty felt like. Not hunger or cold. It was telling your daughter she couldn't go on a field trip. It was watching her pretend not to care. It was failing in 1,000 small ways every single day. That same week, the foreclosure notice arrived. Official, legal, final. Notice of default and intent to foreclose. You have 14 days to bring your account current or vacate the property. 14 days. Jason read it 3 times. The words blurred together. Foreclosure, eviction, legal action, $18,400. That's what he owed now. Back payments plus late fees plus legal fees. He had $912 in the bank. The math was impossible. The situation was impossible. Jason called the bank, got transferred 4 times, finally reached someone who could help. Is there any way to work out a payment plan? Jason begged. I have a job now. I can start making payments again. Sir, you're too far behind. The foreclosure process has already begun. Please, I have a 9-year-old daughter. This is our home. I'm sorry, Mr. Holloway. You can try to refinance, but with your current financial situation, the voice trailed off, meaning no bank would touch him. Jason hung up, stared at the notice. 14 days. Where would they go? Terrence's apartment was too small. Homeless shelter. His daughter in a homeless shelter? He thought about Elena, wondered what she would do. She'd always been the strong one, the problem solver. She'd faced cancer with courage Jason couldn't comprehend. But Elena was gone. It was just him, and he was out of solutions. That night, Jason sat outside at 2 a.m. Couldn't sleep, couldn't think. Just sat on his back porch in the January cold, staring at nothing. The basketball sat in the driveway. Zoe hadn't practiced in over a week. Too cold, she'd said. But Jason knew the truth. She'd heard him on the phone with the bank, understood what was happening. She was trying to be good, trying not to cause trouble, trying to make herself smaller. His 9-year-old daughter was trying to shrink herself to make his life easier. Jason put his head in his hands, started crying, quiet sobs that shook his whole body. He didn't see the light come on in Michael Jordan's house, didn't see the figure standing at a second-floor window, looking down at the small house next door. Didn't see Michael Jordan watching him fall apart. But Michael saw. He saw everything, and he made a decision. The next morning, Michael Jordan called his attorney. "David, I need you to look into something for me." Quietly. "Of course." "What is it?" "My neighbor, Jason Holloway, 428 Willow Creek Drive. He's about to lose his house. I want to know every detail. The mortgage, the timeline, his employment situation, everything." "May I ask why?" Michael looked out his window, saw the small house with the basketball hoop, saw the Honda with the bad transmission, saw the life falling apart in real time. "Because I'm going to help him," Michael said, "but I need to do it right." "Understood. I'll have a report by end of day." Michael hung up, made another call. To his assistant. "I need you to compile a list of every business contact I have in the logistics and distribution industry. Anyone who owes me a favor. Anyone who's hiring." "Right away, sir. Anything else?" "Yes. Find out the name of Justin Holloway's mortgage company and get me a meeting with their CEO." Michael Jordan didn't do anything halfway. Never had. When he set a goal, he achieved it. And his goal now was to save his neighbor's life. But first he had to wait for the right moment. Had to gather all the information. Had to put all the pieces in place. Timing mattered. In basketball, in business, in life. Michael had made game-winning shots with seconds left on the clock, more times than he could count. He knew about pressure, knew about impossible odds. This wasn't so different. The clock was ticking. 14 days until foreclosure. 14 days to put together a plan that would work. Michael looked at his phone, at the list of people he could call, the favors he could collect, the moves he could make, and he smiled. Game on. 4 weeks before the knock. Zoe stood at the kitchen window, watching snow fall in the backyard. January had brought a cold snap, temperatures below zero for days. School was closed. The world felt frozen. "Dad, can I go outside and practice?" Jason looked up from his laptop. Job applications, always job applications. "It's too cold, sweetheart." "Please? Just for a little bit? I'll wear my heavy coat." Jason saw the look in her eyes. She needed this, needed to move, to do something normal. They'd been trapped inside with the weight of foreclosure pressing down on them for too long. 30 minutes, he said, then back inside. Zoe bundled up and ran outside. Within seconds, the sound of the basketball echoed in the frozen air. Jason watched from the window. She was rusty. The ball slipped from her cold hands. Her shots clanked off the rim. But she kept trying. After 15 minutes, Jason saw movement beyond the fence. Michael Jordan appeared at the gate. Same gray sweatshirt as before, hands in his pockets. He stood watching Zoe practice. "Your right shoulder drops on the release," Michael called out. Zoe spun around, surprised. "Mr. Jordan." "Just Michael," he corrected. "And I'm serious about the shoulder. You're compensating for the cold. Muscles are tight. Take a breath before each shot. Let your body warm up." Zoe tried again. This time she paused, breathed, shot. The ball swished through the frozen net. "Better," Michael said. "Do it again." Jason put on his coat and went outside. The cold hit him like a wall. He walked to where Zoe was practicing. Michael nodded at him through the fence. "Jason?" "Michael." It still felt strange calling a legend by his first name. You don't have to coach her. I know you're busy. I'm not busy right now. Michael watched Zoe shoot again. Besides, she listens. That's rare in kids her age. An awkward silence settled between them. Zoe practiced, oblivious to the tension. She's got good form, Michael continued. Who taught her? YouTube, mostly, and her mom before. Jason stopped, didn't finish the sentence. Michael's expression softened. I'm sorry. 2 years ago. Cancer. Another silence, but this one felt different. Understanding. That's tough, Michael said quietly. Raising a kid alone. Jason nodded, didn't trust his voice. Elbow in, Zoe, Michael called out, then back to Jason. You play? Not really. High school, briefly. I wasn't any good. But you taught her the basics. What I could. Jason watched his daughter. She wants to try out for a travel team. She's good enough, but it costs money. Jason's face burned. There it was again. The truth laid bare. Yeah. Michael was quiet for a moment, then, how's the job search going? The question hit Jason like a punch. How did Michael know about that? Had Zoe mentioned it? Or was it just obvious, the man home at odd hours, the stress written on his face? It's, going, Jason said carefully. What field? Warehouse management, logistics, distribution. That's what I know. How long were you at your last place? 17 years. Company went bankrupt. Michael nodded slowly, processing. That's rough. Good companies are hard to find. Yeah. Jason felt exposed, vulnerable. He didn't like talking about his failures, especially not to someone who'd never failed at anything. Zoe's ball bounced over to the fence. Michael picked it up, tossed it back to her. Widen your stance. You're too narrow. Like this? More. Think of it like a tripod. Stable base, everything else flows from there. Zoe adjusted, shot again. Swish. She grinned. It worked. Told you. Michael smiled. Then to Jason. She's a natural. Kids like her don't come along often. Pride swelled in Jason's chest, mixed with sadness. What good was natural talent if you couldn't afford to develop it? Thanks, he managed, for taking time with her. You don't have to. I know I don't have to. Michael looked at him directly. I want to. She reminds me of myself at that age. Hungry, determined, won't quit even when she's cold and tired. Jason saw something in Michael's expression, recognition, like he was seeing more than just a kid practicing basketball. Anyway, Michael said, stepping back from the fence, I should get inside. Work calls. He nodded to Zoe. Practice that stance. I'll check on you tomorrow. You will? Zoe's face lit up. If you're out here, I'll be watching. Deal? Deal! Michael disappeared back into his estate. The gate clicked shut. Zoe ran to Jason, bouncing with excitement. Dad, did you hear him? He said I'm a natural. I heard, kiddo. Jason hugged her. Come on, you're freezing. Let's go inside. The next day, Zoe was outside again. And the day after that. And the day after that. Every evening after school, she practiced. And every evening, Michael appeared at the fence. Sometimes for 5 minutes, sometimes for 20. Always with tips, always encouraging. Follow through. Wrist snap. Again. Left hand is getting better. Keep it up. Don't watch the ball. Watch the rim. Trust your muscle memory. Jason watched from the window, saw his daughter transform, not just her skills, though those were improving rapidly, but her confidence, her joy. For an hour each day, she forgot about foreclosure and money problems. She was just a kid playing basketball, and Michael seemed to enjoy it too. This billionaire legend, taking time to coach a 9-year-old through a fence. Jason didn't understand it, but he was grateful. 3 weeks before the knock, Jason came home early from Save Mart. Carol had sent him home. He'd nearly passed out while stocking shelves. Dehydration, exhaustion, maybe both. He arrived at 4 a.m. The house was dark. He went to check on Zoe, found her sleeping peacefully, then collapsed into his own bed. When he woke up at 2 p.m., his phone was full of messages. 3 from Terrence. Call me. 1 from the bank. Important update on your account. 1 from an unknown number. This is David Chen, attorney. Please call regarding your property at 428 Willow Creek. Jason's heart stopped. An attorney. They were sending lawyers now. He didn't call back. Couldn't face it. Instead, he went downstairs, made coffee, stared at the foreclosure notice still sitting on the table. 10 days left. The doorbell rang. Jason froze. Was it the sheriff? Had they come to evict them early? He opened the door slowly. Michael Jordan stood on his porch, in daylight, at his front door. Michael! Jason's voice came out rough. Is everything okay? Can I come in? Michael's face was serious. We need to talk. Jason's stomach dropped. This was it. Michael was going to tell him to keep Zoe away, that she was being a nuisance, that he was done helping. Sure. Jason stepped aside. Michael walked into the small kitchen, looked around, noticed the foreclosure papers. Didn't comment on them. Coffee, Jason offered automatically. No thanks. Michael sat down at the table, gestured for Jason to sit. Jason sat, waited, his heart pounded. I'm going to be direct, Michael said. Zoe mentioned you're looking for work, said you used to manage warehouse operations. That's right. What's your experience? Jason blinked. What? Your experience. Inventory systems, logistics, team management. Give me the highlights. This wasn't about telling him to stay away. This was an interview. 17 years at Midwest Distribution. Started as a loader, worked up to senior supervisor, managed teams of 40 people, oversaw 3 shifts, implemented a new inventory system that reduced errors by 30%. Jason's voice grew steadier. I know SAP, Oracle, Basic Excel, good with people. Never missed a day of work in 17 years. Michael nodded, pulled out his phone, typed something. You ever work with automotive parts distribution? Some. We handled regional distribution for a couple auto suppliers. Good. Michael kept typing. I have a contact, guy named Robert Huang, runs a logistics company out of Northbrook. They specialize in automotive supply chain. Jason's breath caught. Okay? He owes me a favor. Michael looked up. Big favor. I'm going to call him. Tell him I know a guy who's reliable, experienced, knows his stuff. See if he's hiring. Why would you do that? The words came out before Jason could stop them. Michael was quiet for a moment. Because I see you working nights at a grocery store. See you losing weight, barely sleeping. See you trying to hold everything together for your daughter. He paused. I respect that, and I think I can help. Jason's throat tightened. I don't need charity. This isn't charity. You'd still have to interview, still have to earn the job. I'm just getting your foot in the door. Michael's eyes were steady. You too proud to accept that? Yes. No. Maybe. Jason didn't know anymore. I don't know what to say. Say yes. Let me make a call. Michael pulled up a contact. Robert and I go back 20 years. He's a good guy. Fair. If you're as good as I think you are, he'll hire you. Jason stared at this man sitting in his kitchen, this stranger who barely knew him, offering a lifeline. Why? Jason whispered. Why do you care? Michael's expression shifted. Something vulnerable flickered across his face. When I was 11, he said slowly, my family almost lost our house. My dad got laid off. We were 3 weeks from eviction. He looked at the foreclosure notice on Jason's table. A neighbor helped us, paid some bills, got my dad a job connection, saved us. Jason couldn't breathe. His name was Raymond Hicks, Michael continued. Retired postal worker. Didn't have much money himself, but he helped anyway. Michael's voice grew quieter. He told my dad, I can't change the world, but I can change your world right now. Silence filled the kitchen. Mr. Hicks died when I was in college, Michael said. I never got to pay him back, but he told my dad once, don't pay me back. Pay it forward when you can. Michael looked directly at Jason. So that's what I'm doing, paying it forward. Jason felt tears building. He blinked them back. I don't deserve this. Yes, you do. You're a good father. Working yourself to death for your kid. That deserves respect. Deserves help. Michael stood up. So, do I make the call? Jason nodded. Couldn't speak. Michael dialed. Put the phone on speaker. It rang 3 times. Michael Jordan, it's been too long. A cheerful voice boomed through the speaker. What can I do for you? Robert, I need a favor. Name it. I have a neighbor, Jason Holloway, 17 years warehouse management experience. Good with systems, good with people, reliable as hell. You hiring? A pause. We're actually looking for a regional manager right now. Been searching for 2 months. Jason is your guy. You're vouching for him? I am. Then he's got an interview. Send me his resume. Let's say Thursday at 10 a.m.? Jason's eyes went wide. Thursday was 3 days away. He'll be there, Michael said. Thanks, Robert. I owe you. You don't owe me anything. You bought my daughter a college scholarship, remember? Michael smiled. That was different. It's never different with you, Michael. You help people. That's what you do. Robert's voice warmed. I'll take care of your neighbor. Send me the info. They hung up. Michael looked at Jason. Thursday, 10 a.m., Northbrook Industrial Park, Building 7, dress professionally. Bring copies of your resume. Michael headed for the door, then paused. And Jason, get some sleep before then. You look terrible. Jason stood frozen in his kitchen, processing. Michael Jordan had just gotten him a job interview, had called in a favor, for him, a stranger. Why? Jason asked again. Really? Why me? Michael turned in the doorway, looked at Jason with an expression that was hard to read. Sadness, understanding, determination. Because nobody should face this alone, he said quietly, and because sometimes one person can make all the difference. Mr. Hicks taught me that. Then he was gone. Jason stood alone in his kitchen, staring at the space where Michael Jordan had been. His mind spun. An interview, a real job interview, for a management position. Hope, that dangerous, terrifying thing. He looked at the foreclosure notice. 10 days left. If he got this job, if the timing worked, maybe. Jason sat down at the table, put his head in his hands, and for the first time in months, he cried tears that weren't just despair. They were hope, mixed with fear, mixed with gratitude so overwhelming he couldn't contain it. Outside, through the fence, Michael Jordan walked back to his massive house. Behind him, the small house with the basketball hoop sat quiet in the winter afternoon. But something had changed. Some invisible current had shifted. 10 days until foreclosure, 3 days until the interview, and one neighbor who refused to let another family fall. The game wasn't over yet. 2 weeks before the knock. Jason sat in the parking lot of Northbrook Industrial Park, gripping his steering wheel. 9:47 a.m. The interview was in 13 minutes. He'd spent 3 hours last night preparing, researched the company, Huang Logistics Solutions, one of the largest automotive parts distributors in the Midwest. Printed 5 copies of his resume on expensive paper he couldn't afford. Pressed his funeral suit until there wasn't a wrinkle left. His hands shook. This was it, his last real chance. If he didn't get this job, there was no plan B. The foreclosure was 7 days away now. 7 days until they lost everything. Jason checked his reflection in the rearview mirror. He looked gaunt, tired, desperate. He forced himself to smile. Practice. But the smile looked fake even to him. 9:52 a.m. Jason got out of the car, walked toward Building 7. Each step felt heavy, like walking through water. The lobby was sleek, modern. A receptionist smiled at him. Can I help you? Jason Holloway. I have a 10 a.m. interview with Mr. Huang. Of course. Please have a seat. He'll be right with you. Jason sat on a leather couch that probably cost more than his monthly mortgage. Waited. His heart hammered so loud he could hear it. At exactly 10 a.m., a man in his 50s appeared. Asian, fit, expensive suit. Warm smile. Jason, Robert Huang. They shook hands. Robert's grip was firm, confident. Come on back. Can I get you coffee? Water? Water would be great. Thank you. They walked through an open office space. Employees worked at standing desks. Everything was clean, organized, efficient. Jason tried not to gawk. Robert's office had floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the warehouse floor below. Thousands of auto parts, perfectly sorted, forklifts moving in precise patterns. Beautiful, isn't it? Robert gestured to the view. Chaos that looks like order. That's logistics. It's impressive, Jason said honestly. They sat. Robert pulled out Jason's resume. Michael speaks very highly of you. He's been kind to my family. Michael doesn't do kind without reason. He's sharp, sees things other people miss. Robert leaned forward. So tell me, Jason, why should I hire you? For the next 45 minutes, Jason poured everything he had into that interview, explained his experience, talked about the inventory system he'd designed, described how he'd reduced shipping errors, shared his management philosophy. Treat your team well. They'll work hard for you. Robert listened carefully, asked tough questions, made notes. You've been out of work for 3 months, Robert said. Why has it taken this long to find something? Jason chose honesty. I'm overqualified for some positions, underqualified for others. And some places see my age and experience as a liability rather than an asset. How old are you? 42. I'm 57. Age is only a liability if you stop learning. Robert smiled. What have you learned in the last 3 months? That pride is expensive, that asking for help is harder than any job I've ever done, and that my daughter is braver than I'll ever be. Robert studied him for a long moment. Michael told me you're facing some personal challenges, financial difficulties. Jason's face burned. Yes, sir, but I promise it won't affect my work. I've never missed a day in 17 years. I'm reliable. I believe you. Robert stood, walked to the window. Jason, I'm going to be honest. We've interviewed 15 people for this position, all qualified, some with master's degrees. But you know what none of them had? What? Real pressure, real stakes, real hunger. Robert turned. You need this job. Not just want it, need it. That makes a difference. Jason didn't know if that was good or bad. The position is regional manager, Robert continued. You'd oversee 3 distribution centers, manage a team of 65 people. Salary is $78,000 plus benefits. Health insurance starts immediately. Jason's heart stopped. $78,000, more than he'd ever made, with benefits. When would I start? His voice came out hoarse. That's the issue. Robert sat back down. We need someone in 2 weeks. There's a transition period with our current manager. Training, shadowing, learning our systems. Can you do 2 weeks? 2 weeks. The foreclosure was in 7 days. Yes, Jason said. I can do 2 weeks. Good. Robert extended his hand. Welcome to Huang Logistics, Jason. Don't make Michael look bad. They shook hands. Jason felt lightheaded. Did that just happen? Did he actually get the job? Thank you, Jason managed. You won't regret this. I know I won't. Michael's never wrong about people. Jason sat in his car for 10 minutes before he could drive. He'd gotten the job. $78,000. Benefits. A real career again. But 2 weeks was too long. The foreclosure was in 7 days. Even if he begged the bank, explained he had a job coming, they wouldn't wait. The legal process had already started. Jason did the math in his head. 2 weeks until first paycheck, maybe 3. By then, they'd already be evicted. The job would save their future, but it couldn't save their house. He drove home in a daze, pulled into his driveway at noon, sat in the car, staring at their small house, the house where Elena had died, where Zoe had taken her first steps, where they'd built a life. Gone. In 7 days. Jason walked inside. The house was quiet. Zoe was at school. He sat at the kitchen table, stared at the foreclosure notice he'd memorized by now. His phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Mr. Holloway, this is David Chen, attorney. I've been trying to reach you regarding your property. Jason's stomach sank. I know, I'm behind on my mortgage. I know what's happening. Sir, I think there's been a misunderstanding. I don't represent the bank. I represent a private party interested in your property. Jason frowned. What? My client would like to discuss purchasing your mortgage from the bank before foreclosure. Is that something you'd be interested in discussing? Who's your client? I'm not at liberty to say yet, but I can tell you they're prepared to make a very generous offer. Would you be available to meet tomorrow? Jason's head spun. Someone wanted to buy his mortgage? That didn't make sense. Why would anyone want to buy a defaulted mortgage? I really can't discuss details over the phone. Can we meet? Tomorrow, 2 p.m. I can come to your home if that's easier. I guess so. Excellent. I'll see you then, Mr. Holloway. The line went dead. Jason sat holding his phone. Nothing made sense. A job out of nowhere. Now a lawyer wanting to buy his mortgage. What was happening? That evening, Zoe came home from school excited. Dad, guess what? Mrs. Karimi. Chen said my science project won second place in the school competition. Jason hugged her. That's amazing, sweetheart. I'm so proud of you. There's a district competition next month. Can I enter? Of course. Jason didn't ask about fees, didn't ask about supplies, just said yes. For once, he could say yes to something. After dinner, Zoe went outside to practice basketball despite the cold. Within minutes, Michael appeared at the fence. Jason went outside. Needed to thank him. Needed to say something. Michael turned. Jason, how'd the interview go? I got it. Jason's voice cracked. I start in 2 weeks, 78,000, benefits, everything. Michael smiled, a real smile. I knew you would. Robert's smart. He saw what I saw. I can't thank you enough. You saved. Jason stopped, because even with the job, he was still losing the house. You gave me hope. That's more than anyone's done in months. You earned it. I just made an introduction. Michael paused. What's wrong? You don't look happy. Jason laughed bitterly. The job starts in 2 weeks. Foreclosure is in 7 days. I'll have a great career and no house to live in. Michael's expression didn't change. Did a lawyer call you? David Chen? Jason's head snapped up. You know about that? Meet with him tomorrow. Listen to what he has to say. Michael, what's going on? Just listen to him. That's all I'm asking. Michael turned back to coaching Zoe. Elbow in, Zoe. You're dropping it again. Jason stood there confused. Michael knew about the lawyer. Was Michael behind this somehow? But why? How? Michael, tomorrow, Jason. All your questions get answered tomorrow. Michael glanced back at him. Trust me. Jason wanted to push, wanted answers now, but something in Michael's expression stopped him. Okay, he said quietly. I'll listen. That night, Jason couldn't sleep. He lay in bed staring at the ceiling. His mind raced. The job, the lawyer, Michael's mysterious involvement. At 2 a.m., he gave up, got dressed, went downstairs. He pulled out Elena's wedding ring from the drawer where he kept it, held it in his palm. The gold caught the moonlight coming through the window. I don't know what's happening, he whispered to her, to the memory of her. But I think maybe we're going to be okay. He went to Elena's closet, the one he still hadn't cleaned out, sat on the floor surrounded by her clothes, her shoes, her scarves. I met our neighbor, Jason said to the empty room. Michael Jordan. Can you believe that? And he's helping us. I don't know why, don't understand it, but he sees Zoe, really sees her, coaches her through the fence. Got me a job interview. Tears rolled down his face. I've been so scared, Elena. So lost without you. Didn't know how to do this alone. His voice broke. But maybe I'm not alone. Maybe there are good people left in the world. Maybe Mr. Hicks wasn't the only one. He stayed there until dawn, talking to his dead wife, crying, hoping. The next day at 2 p.m., David Chen arrived. Professional suit, briefcase, kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. They sat at Jason's kitchen table. Zoe was at a friend's house, just the two of them. Mr. Holloway, I'll be direct. My client has reviewed your mortgage situation. They're prepared to purchase your full mortgage from the bank. $18,400. Jason blinked. Why? Who would do that? I can't reveal my client's identity yet, but they have specific terms. David pulled out documents. They're not forgiving the debt. You'd still owe the full amount. But instead of owing the bank, you'd owe my client. I don't understand. No foreclosure, no eviction. The house stays yours. You make payments to my client instead of the bank. When you can afford it, however long it takes. Jason's heart pounded. When I can afford it? What does that mean? It means there's no payment schedule, no late fees, no interest. You pay what you can, when you can. Could be 5 years, could be 20. My client doesn't care. That's insane. Why would anyone do that? David smiled slightly. My client believes in helping people who are trying, people who work hard, people who deserve a second chance. It's Michael, isn't it? Jason whispered. David's expression didn't change. I can neither confirm nor deny my client's identity. But I can tell you this. They believe in you, believe in your family, and they want to help. Jason stared at the papers. His house, his home, saved. What's the catch? No catch. You sign these papers, the mortgage transfers, bank gets paid, you keep your house. Simple. Nothing was ever simple, but Jason looked at these documents, legal, official, real, and saw salvation. Can I think about it? Of course, but the foreclosure is in 5 days. If you want to accept, we need to move quickly. David stood. Call me by tomorrow if you're interested. After that, it might be too late. He left his card and walked out. Jason sat alone in his kitchen, holding papers that would save his home, offered by a mystery client who was obviously Michael Jordan. Why? Why would a billionaire buy his mortgage? Why would anyone care this much about a stranger? Raymond Hicks, the name echoed in Jason's head, the neighbor who'd saved Michael's family. Pay it forward. Jason looked around his small kitchen, saw Zoe's artwork on the fridge, saw Elena's coffee mug still sitting on the shelf, saw the life they'd built here, and he knew what Elena would say. Take the help, swallow your pride, accept the gift. But Jason also knew what he had to do first. He had to talk to Michael, face to face, neighbor to neighbor, man to man. He had to understand why. That evening, Jason walked to Michael's gate, hit the intercom button, waited. Yes? A security guard's voice. Jason Holloway, I need to speak with Michael Jordan. It's important. A pause. 1 moment. 5 minutes later, the gate buzzed open. A guard escorted Jason through the massive property, past the pool, past gardens, past a full-size basketball court, to the main house. Enormous, beautiful, overwhelming. Michael met him at the door. Casual clothes, bare feet, just a man in his home. Jason, come in. They walked to a comfortable office. Books everywhere. Basketball memorabilia, photos of family. I talked to David Chen, Jason said. Good. It's you. You're buying my mortgage. Michael didn't deny it. Yes. Why? Jason's voice cracked. I'm nobody, a stranger. Why would you do this? Michael gestured for Jason to sit. They sat across from each other. 2 men, 2 neighbors. I told you about Raymond Hicks, Michael said quietly. The man who saved my family. I remember. He was a postal worker, retired, made maybe $30,000 a year, had a small pension. Michael's voice grew soft. He gave my family $2,000, 2 months of mortgage payments. For him, that was everything. His savings, his emergency fund, everything. Jason listened. My dad asked him why. Why help us? We weren't family, barely knew each other. Michael looked at Jason. Mr. Hicks said, because I can, because you need it, because somebody helped me once, and this is how I say thank you. Silence filled the office. I've made more money than I could spend in 10 lifetimes, Michael continued. Championships, endorsements, businesses. But you know what I haven't done? I haven't been Raymond Hicks for someone else. You have, Jason said, donated millions to charity. Everyone knows that. That's different. That's writing checks. That's easy. Michael leaned forward. This is personal. This is looking my neighbor in the eye and saying, I see you. I see you struggling, and I'm going to help. Jason felt tears building. I can't let you. Yes, you can, and you will. Michael's voice was firm. Because your daughter deserves to stay in her home. Because you've worked your entire life and hit bad luck. Because Elena, his voice softened. Your wife deserves to have her family protected. even though she's gone. Jason broke, sobbed. Right there in Michael Jordan's office. Michael waited, didn't speak, just let Jason cry. Finally, Jason wiped his eyes. I'll pay you back, every cent. I promise. I know you will, when you can. No rush. Why me? Jason asked again. Really, why? Michael stood, walked to the window, looked out toward Jason's house. Because I see my dad in you, he said quietly. See myself in Zoe. See a family that's trying, that's fighting, that refuses to quit. He turned back. And because Mr. Hicks can't be here to do it, so I'm doing it for him. Jason stood, walked over, extended his hand. Thank you, he whispered. Thank you doesn't cover it, but thank you. They shook hands, man to man, neighbor to neighbor. Don't thank me yet, Michael said. You've still got to survive me coaching Zoe. I'm a tough coach. Jason laughed. Actually laughed. First real laugh in months. She can handle it. Good, because she's going to make that travel team next year. And I'm going to make sure she's ready. They walked back through the house. At the door, Jason paused. Michael, one more thing. Yeah? How do I pay this forward? How do I be Raymond Hicks for someone else? Michael smiled. You'll know when the time comes. Trust me, you'll know. That night, Jason signed the papers, called David Chen, made it official. The house was saved. The family was saved. And 7 days later, Michael Jordan knocked on Jason Holloway's door. But that's not the end of the story. That's just where it begins. 1 week before the knock. Jason woke up at 6 a.m. feeling different, lighter. For the first time in months, the weight on his chest had lifted. The mortgage was saved, transferred to Michael. No foreclosure, no eviction. The papers were signed, notarized, official. He had a job starting in 1 week. Real salary, benefits, a future. But the guilt gnawed at him. He'd accepted an enormous gift from a neighbor, $18,000 plus whatever legal fees Michael had paid. How could he ever repay that? Jason made coffee, sat at the kitchen table. The foreclosure notice was gone. He'd thrown it away last night. In its place sat David Chen's business card and a copy of the new mortgage agreement. Simple terms. Pay back the full amount when possible. No interest, no deadline. Just a handshake deal backed by legal papers. Nobody did things like this. Nobody except Raymond Hicks and Michael Jordan. Jason's phone buzzed. Text from Michael. Zoe practicing today? Haven't seen her out there in a while. Jason typed back. It's 6 a.m. I meant later. Jason smiled. Yes, she'll be out after school. Good. Her left hand needs work. That was it. No mention of the mortgage. No mention of $18,000. Just basketball coaching through a fence. Like nothing had changed. Like they were just neighbors. That afternoon, Jason went to Save Mart. He found Carol in her office, surrounded by inventory reports and scheduling spreadsheets. Jason, you're not on the schedule today. I know, I need to talk to you. Jason sat down. I got a job. Real job. I have to give notice. Carol leaned back in her chair, studied him. You look different, healthier. I feel different. When do you start? Next Monday. I can work through this weekend if you need me. Carol waved her hand. Don't worry about it. I'll figure it out. She smiled. I'm happy for you, Jason. You're too smart to be stocking shelves at midnight. This job saved my life. Literally, I'll never forget that you hired me when nobody else would. You worked hard, showed up every shift. That's all I ask. Carol stood, shook his hand. Good luck. And Jason, don't be a stranger. Come visit sometime. Jason left Save Mart feeling strange. A chapter closing, a new one opening. He drove home through familiar streets, past the places that had become landmarks in his struggle. The bank where he'd begged for more time. The pawn shop where he'd considered selling his wedding ring. The grocery store where he'd bought the cheapest food possible. All of it behind him now. That evening, Zoe practiced basketball with new intensity. Jason watched from the window. She was different too. More confident, more focused. Like she sensed that things had changed, that the dark cloud had lifted. Michael appeared at the fence right on schedule. Footwork, Zoe! You're shuffling. Pick up your feet. Jason went outside. The February air was cold but not brutal. He walked to the fence. Michael. Jason. Michael nodded. She's getting better. Still needs work on defense. I wanted to talk to you about the mortgage. Nothing to talk about. It's done. I need you to know I'm going to pay you back. Every dollar. It might take years, but... Jason. Michael's voice was firm. Stop. We already covered this. Pay me back when you can. Until then, focus on your job. Focus on Zoe. Focus on moving forward. I just don't want you to think I'm taking advantage. If I thought that, I wouldn't have done it. Michael watched Zoe practice. You know what Mr. Hicks told my dad? He said accepting help isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Smart people know when to let others in. Jason swallowed hard. It's still hard. I know, pride is expensive. But you know what's more expensive? Losing everything because you're too proud to accept help. Michael looked at him. You made the right choice. For you and for Zoe. They stood in comfortable silence, watching Zoe shoot free throws. There's something else, Michael said. The job at Huang Logistics. Robert called me this morning. Jason's stomach dropped. Is there a problem? No, opposite. He's excited about you starting. Wants to know if you'd be interested in some additional training. Management certification program. Company would pay for it. Are you serious? Robert said you impressed him. He sees potential. This is him investing in that potential. Michael paused. See? You earned this. Not because of me. Because of you. Jason felt something crack inside him. The last bit of shame. The final piece of self-doubt. Maybe he did deserve this. Maybe he had earned it. Maybe accepting help didn't make him weak. Thank you, Jason said. For everything. For seeing us. For caring. That's what neighbors do. Michael turned to go back through his gate. And Jason, I expect you at Zoe's first travel team game next season. I'm going to make sure she makes that team. You're not coaching her yourself? Michael laughed. I'm not a youth basketball coach, but I know people who are. Good people. I'll make some calls. He disappeared through the gate before Jason could respond. Jason stood alone by the fence, shaking his head. Michael Jordan was going to call in more favors. For Zoe. For a 9-year-old girl he barely knew. Raymond Hicks would be proud. 3 days before the knock, Michael received a phone call from David Chen. Michael, we have a small problem with the Holloway mortgage. Michael's jaw tightened. What kind of problem? The bank is questioning the sale. They want to know why you'd buy a defaulted mortgage at full price. They're worried about fraud. It's not fraud. I bought it legally. I know, but they're asking questions. Might delay the transfer. David paused. There's also something else. I did some research like you asked, into Jason's employment history. And the company that laid him off, Midwest Distribution, they violated several labor laws in how they handled the bankruptcy. Improper notice, no severance package. There's a class action lawsuit forming. Michael leaned forward. Is Jason part of it? He doesn't know about it yet, but he's entitled to back pay. Estimated 6 months severance, around $22,000. Michael did quick math. That plus the mortgage refund. What refund? I had my team look into his property records. The county overassessed his property value 3 years ago. He's been overpaying on his mortgage. He's owed a refund of around $6,200. David was quiet. You found money he didn't know he had. Yes, and with the lawsuit settlement, he'll have enough to pay off most of the mortgage. Michael smiled. And I won't have to tell him I'm forgiving anything. He can do it himself. Michael, that's brilliant. You're giving him his dignity back. That's the point. Michael stood, walked to his window, looked at Jason's house. Mr. Hicks didn't just give my family money. He gave us hope, showed us we weren't alone. But he did it in a way that let my dad feel like a man, like he was still providing for his family. So you're doing the same for Jason? Exactly. Michael checked his calendar. When can we get him that information? About the lawsuit and the refund? I can have everything ready in a few days. Want me to call him? No. Michael made a decision. I'll tell him myself, in person. Let's do this right. 2 days before the knock, Jason started his job at Huang Logistics. Training day. Robert showed him around, introduced him to the team, explained the systems. Everything was professional, clean, organized, a real company with real structure. Jason felt like himself again, not a desperate man stocking shelves at midnight, but a manager, a professional, someone with value. You're going to do great here, Robert said at the end of the day. I can already tell. Thank you for giving me this chance. Thank Michael. He vouched for you, but now you're proving him right. Robert clapped him on the shoulder. See you tomorrow, Justin. Get some rest. Jason drove home feeling something he hadn't felt in months. Purpose. That evening, Zoe showed him her report card. Straight A's. Dad, look! Mrs. Chen said my science grade went up. Jason hugged her tight. I'm so proud of you, sweetheart. You never gave up, even when things were hard. You never gave up either, Zoe said quietly. I saw you, Dad, working so hard, trying so hard. Jason's throat tightened. I'm sorry you had to see that. You're a kid. You shouldn't have to worry about adult problems. But we're okay now, right? We get to keep the house? Yes, we get to keep the house. Zoe hugged him harder. Good, because this is home. This is where Mom is. Jason looked around their small kitchen, saw Elena everywhere. In the coffee mug, in the photos on the fridge, in the wear patterns on the linoleum where she used to stand while cooking. Yes, he whispered, this is where Mom is. The day before the knock, Michael finalized his plan. He had all the documents, the property assessment error, the class action lawsuit information, the mortgage transfer papers, everything Jason needed to know. But there was one more piece, one more thing Michael wanted to do. He called Robert Huang. Robert, I need one more favor. Name it. The management training program you mentioned. I want to pay for it. Michael, the company already covers. I know, but I want to fund a scholarship in Raymond Hicks's name for employees who show exceptional potential and character. Michael paused. Jason Holloway would be the first recipient. Robert was quiet. Then, that's beautiful, Michael. Yes, let's do it. Good. But don't tell Jason it's from me. Tell him he earned it through your company's merit program. You really don't want credit for any of this, do you? This isn't about credit. Michael looked at the photo on his desk. Old picture. His father and Raymond Hicks standing in front of their house, the house they almost lost. This is about paying a debt I can never fully repay. That night, Michael Jordan stood at his fence, watching Jason's house. Lights on in the kitchen, Zoe doing homework, Jason making dinner. A normal evening, a normal family. Safe, secure, together. Tomorrow, Michael would knock on that door, would tell Jason everything, would hand him the documents that would let him pay off most of the mortgage himself, would give him his dignity along with his home. Mr. Hicks had taught Michael something important. It's not just about giving money, it's about giving it in a way that preserves someone's humanity, that lets them feel capable, strong, worthy. Michael thought about his own life, championships, fame, wealth beyond measure. But standing here looking at this small house, he felt something he hadn't felt in years. Purpose beyond basketball, beyond business, beyond himself. He was being Raymond Hicks for someone else. Finally, after all these years, and it felt right. Tomorrow the conversation would happen. The documents would be shared. The full picture would emerge. But tonight, Michael just stood at the fence, a silent guardian of the family next door. The family that reminded him why success meant nothing if you didn't use it to lift others up. The family that let him finally repay a debt 40 years old. The family that proved Raymond Hicks' legacy lived on. Tomorrow, everything would change. Tomorrow, Jason Holloway would learn he wasn't just receiving charity. He was receiving tools to save himself. And that would make all the difference. Michael turned away from the fence, walked back to his house. Tomorrow. Tomorrow he would knock on the door and do the unthinkable. Not just save a home, but restore a man's belief in himself, in humanity, in the goodness that still existed in the world. That was the real gift. And it was priceless. Days 1-5 before the knock. Jason woke up Monday morning for his second day at Huang Logistics and felt something unfamiliar. Excitement. He put on his work clothes, not a Save Mart uniform, but khakis and a button-down shirt. Professional, respectable, like he mattered again. Zoe was already at the table eating cereal. "You look happy, Dad." "I feel happy, kiddo." Jason grabbed his coffee. "Today I start managing the inventory systems. Real work." "That's cool." Zoe grinned. "Mr. Jordan said you'd be good at your new job. He said you have quiet competence. I don't know what that means, but it sounded like a compliment." "When did he say that?" "Yesterday, when I was practicing. He talks about you sometimes." Zoe shrugged. "I think he likes you." Jason felt warmth spread through his chest. Michael Jordan thought he had quiet competence. A man who'd won 6 championships thought Jason Holloway was capable. "I like him too," Jason said. "He's a good neighbor. The best neighbor." Zoe finished her cereal. "Can we have him over for dinner sometime? To say thank you?" Jason paused. Would Michael Jordan want to eat dinner at their small kitchen table? Would that be weird? "Maybe," Jason said. "Let me think about it." At work, Jason threw himself into learning. The inventory management system was complex, SAP-based, integrated with automated warehouses across 3 states. Robert walked him through everything, patient and thorough. "You're picking this up fast," Robert noted. "Most people take weeks to understand our workflow." "I like systems. They make sense to me." Jason studied the screen. "Is this redundancy intentional? This backup protocol?" Robert looked impressed. "You spotted that already?" "Yes, we learned the hard way that single points of failure cost millions. Now everything has a backup." They worked through lunch. Jason didn't mind. This was engaging, challenging, important work. At 4 p.m., Robert's assistant brought in documents. "The enrollment forms you requested, sir." "Ah, perfect." Robert handed them to Jason. "Management training program. 8 weeks, evenings and weekends. Company pays for everything. You interested?" Jason stared at the forms. "This is..." "Yes. Absolutely yes." "Good, you earned it. We only select employees who show exceptional initiative and leadership potential." Robert smiled. "You qualified after 1 day. That's impressive." Jason felt pride swell. He'd earned this, not because of connections or charity, because he was good at what he did. He took the forms home that evening and filled them out carefully. Certification in advanced logistics management. Starting in 3 weeks. A future, a real future. Day 2 before the knock. Jason received a certified letter at home. Official looking. His stomach clenched automatically. Months of bad news had trained him to fear official mail. He opened it carefully. Midwest Distribution Company class action lawsuit settlement. You may be entitled to compensation. Jason read it twice. 3 times. The company that had fired him without severance was being sued, and he was automatically included as a plaintiff because he'd been employed during the relevant period. Estimated settlement, 6 months back, pay, around $22,000. Jason sat down heavily. $22,000. Money he didn't know he was owed. Money that would change everything. He could pay Michael back. Not all of it, but a huge chunk. Could actually make real progress on that debt. His hands shook as he called the number on the letter. Got transferred 3 times. Finally reached an attorney named Lisa Park. "Mr. Holloway, yes, you're definitely eligible. The settlement is being finalized. You should receive payment within 60 days. "This is real? This isn't a scam?" Lisa laughed kindly. "It's very real. Midwest violated federal labor law. The court ruled in favor of employees. You'll get what you're owed." Jason hung up and stared at the wall. Sometimes the universe gave back what it took. Sometimes justice happened, even when you'd stopped expecting it. He thought about calling Michael, telling him the good news. But something held him back, some instinct that said, wait, let this all unfold. Day 3 before the knock. Another letter arrived, this one from the county assessor's office. Property tax reassessment and refund notice. Jason opened it with shaking hands. The letter explained that his property had been incorrectly assessed 3 years ago. The county had overvalued his home by 15%. He'd been overpaying on his mortgage, which was based on property value for 3 years. Total refund owed $6,200, plus 3 years of overpaid property taxes, another $800, $7,000. Money he'd paid that he shouldn't have, coming back to him. Jason did the math. The lawsuit settlement, $22,000. The refund, $7,000. Total, $29,000. More than enough to pay Michael back the entire $18,400, with money left over, enough to feel secure again. His throat tightened. After months of everything going wrong, suddenly everything was going right. Too right, it felt impossible. Jason grabbed his phone, called David Chen. "Mr. Chen, this is Jason Holloway. I need to ask you something." "Of course, Jason. What can I help you with?" "Did Michael know about these things? The lawsuit, the property refund?" A long pause. "What makes you ask that?" "Because it's too perfect. All of this happening at once, right after he buys my mortgage." Jason's voice grew firm. "Did he know?" Another pause, then, "Michael asked me to research your financial situation. Thoroughly, I found some things, including those 2 items. So he knew. He knew I'd be able to pay him back." "Jason, I can't speak for Michael's motivations, but I can tell you this. He bought your mortgage before we confirmed those findings. He was prepared to carry that debt indefinitely, whether you could pay him back or not." Jason closed his eyes, felt tears building. "The refunds were just luck?" Jason asked. "Good research. And a little luck, yes, but Michael didn't engineer them. He just found them." David's voice softened. "He wanted you to have your dignity, Jason. Wanted you to be able to pay your own way. That's why he didn't tell you immediately. He wanted you to discover it yourself. Feel like you'd earned it." Jason sat in silence, processing. "He's a good man," David said quietly. "Rare kind of good." "Yeah," Jason whispered. "He is." Day 4 before the knock. Jason wanted to go next door, wanted to thank Michael, wanted to tell him about the money, about the plan to pay him back, but he didn't. Something told him to wait. Michael clearly had a plan, a way he wanted this to unfold. Jason would respect that. Instead, he threw himself into work, learned everything he could, impressed Robert with his quick thinking and attention to detail. "You're exactly what we needed," Robert told him Friday afternoon. "I'm glad Michael recommended you." "Michael has good judgment," Jason said. "The best. He doesn't give recommendations lightly. When Michael says someone's worth investing in, you invest in them." Robert leaned back in his chair. "He called me this morning, actually, asked how you were doing." "What did you tell him?" "That you're exceeding expectations. That I'm considering you for a team lead position once you complete the training program." Robert smiled. He said he wasn't surprised. Jason felt a lump in his throat. Michael was still watching out for him, still opening doors, still being Raymond Hicks. Day 5 before the knock. Saturday morning. Zoe wanted to practice basketball, but it was raining. Cold February rain that made everything gray and miserable. "Can we set up the hoop in the garage?" Zoe asked. "Please?" Jason looked at the garage. Cluttered. Elena's car used to be in there, but now it was empty. Just boxes and old furniture. "Tell you what, help me clean it out and we'll set up a practice space. Deal?" "Deal." They spent 3 hours sorting through boxes, old holiday decorations, Elena's craft supplies, memories in cardboard. Jason found a box labeled Elena's Art, opened it carefully. Inside were paintings Elena had done during her first round of chemo. Bright colors, abstract shapes, full of life even while she was dying. "Mom was a good painter," Zoe said softly, looking over his shoulder. "She was good at everything." Jason pulled out a canvas, swirls of blue and gold. She said painting helped her feel alive when the cancer made her feel dead. "Can we hang them up? In the house?" Jason looked at the paintings. He'd hidden them away after Elena died. Too painful to look at. But maybe it was time. "Yes," he said. "Let's hang them up." They spent the afternoon transforming the house. Paintings on the walls. Elena's presence filling the rooms again. Not haunting, celebrating. That evening, Jason stood in the living room, surrounded by Elena's art, and felt something shift inside him. He'd been surviving. Now he was living again. The grief was still there, would always be there, but it had space now to coexist with joy, with hope, with a future. Day 6 before the knock, Sunday. Jason made pancakes for breakfast. Real pancakes, not the frozen kind. With syrup Zoe had been wanting for weeks. "These are so good," Zoe said through a mouthful. "I used to make these for your mom every Sunday." Jason flipped another one. "Before you were born, she loved them." "Tell me a mom story." Jason smiled. "Which one?" "The one where she threw cake at you." Jason laughed. "Oh man. Okay, so it was our second anniversary. I tried to surprise her with a homemade cake, but I forgot to add sugar. It tasted like salty cardboard. And then she laughed so hard she cried. Then she threw a piece at me, started a food fight in our tiny apartment kitchen." Jason's eyes grew distant. "We were covered in cake. Kitchen was destroyed, but we were so happy." Zoe giggled. "I wish I remembered her better." "She remembered you perfectly, every detail. Even at the end, when she couldn't remember my name sometimes, she always remembered you." Jason's voice cracked. "She loved you so much, Zoe." "I know, Dad." Zoe grabbed his hand. "And she'd be proud of us now, for not giving up." Jason looked at his 9-year-old daughter. So wise, so brave. "Yeah," he whispered, "she would be." That afternoon, Jason sat at his kitchen table, surrounded by documents, the class action lawsuit information, the property refund notice, his new employment contract, the management training enrollment forms, everything laid out. A complete picture of transformation, from foreclosure to stability, from desperation to hope, from drowning to breathing again, and at the center of it all, a neighbor who'd cared enough to look, to really see, to help. Jason picked up his phone, typed a text to Michael. "Thank you for everything. I found some money I didn't know I had. I can pay you back soon." 3 dots appeared. Then, "I know, we should talk. I'll come by soon." Jason stared at those words. "I know." Of course Michael knew. He'd probably known before Jason did, had orchestrated the timing, had made sure Jason would discover his own salvation. That was the gift, not just the money, but the dignity, the ability to save himself. Raymond Hicks had done the same for Michael's family, given them help, but let them keep their pride. Now Michael was doing it for Jason. The cycle continued. The debt was being paid forward. 40 years later in a different house, with a different family, but the same kindness, the same humanity. Jason looked around his kitchen, at Elena's paintings on the walls, at Zoe's homework spread on the table, at the life they'd almost lost but somehow kept. Tomorrow was Monday, another day of work, another day of building, another day of moving forward. And somewhere in the next few days, Michael would knock on his door, would have that conversation, would close this chapter and open the next one. Jason was ready, for all of it. The waiting was almost over. That night, Michael Jordan made the final preparations. He had all the documents organized, everything Justin needed to know, the timeline, the plan, the way forward. Tomorrow, he'd go next door, have the conversation, hand over the papers, give Jason the full picture. But there was one more thing. Michael picked up his phone, called his assistant. "I need you to arrange something. A basketball camp, elite training, week-long, this summer, for a 9-year-old girl named Zoe Holloway. Consider it done. Scholarship basis? Yes, full ride. Tell her she earned it through a talent scout recommendation. Don't mention my name." "Of course, sir." Michael hung up, looked at the framed photo on his desk again, his father and Raymond Hicks. 2 men who taught him the most important lesson. Success means nothing if you don't lift others up with you. Tomorrow he'd knock on Jason Holloway's door, and he'd do the unthinkable. Not just save a house, not just buy a mortgage, not just get a man a job. He'd give a family their life back, their dignity, their hope, their future. And he'd do it in a way that let them feel like they'd earned it, like they'd saved themselves. That was the real magic of Raymond Hicks, not the money, the method. Tomorrow, Michael would be Raymond Hicks for someone else. Finally, completely, perfectly. Tomorrow, everything would come together. Tomorrow, the knock would change everything. But tonight, Michael stood at his window, looking at the small house next door, and felt peace. This was why he'd been successful. So he could do this. So he could be this. So he could pay forward a debt that could never truly be repaid. Only passed on, generation to generation, neighbor to neighbor, human to human. Tomorrow. Back to present, the knock. Jason sat across from Michael Jordan at his own kitchen table. The folder lay open between them. Documents spread out like evidence of impossible kindness. His hand still shook. His mind still reeled. "I need to tell you something about your house that you don't know yet," Michael had said. And then he told him everything. The property assessment error. $6,200 owed back to Jason. Michael's lawyers had found it, verified it, expedited the refund process. The check would arrive within days. The class action lawsuit against Midwest Distribution, $22,000 in back severance. Jason was already on the list. Settlement approved. Payment in 60 days, maybe sooner. Jason had done the math instantly. $28,200 total. More than enough to pay back the $18,400 mortgage Michael had purchased, with nearly $10,000 left over. "You found this," Jason said, voice barely working. "You knew before you bought the mortgage." "My lawyers found the property error. The lawsuit was just breaking when I started looking into your situation." Michael's voice was steady, calm. "But Jason, I bought your mortgage before we confirmed any of this. I was prepared to carry that debt for as long as it took. But you knew I might be able to pay you back?" "I hoped." Big difference between hope and certainty. Michael leaned forward. "The point is, you earned this money. The county owed it to you. Your former employer owed it to you. This isn't charity. This is justice finally showing up." Jason looked at the papers. Legal documents, official letterhead. Real money coming back to him. Money he'd paid that he shouldn't have. Money he'd earned that he'd never received. "I don't understand how this is happening," Jason whispered. "After months of everything going wrong, suddenly everything is going right. Sometimes the universe balances itself out. Takes a while, but it happens." Michael pulled out another document. "And there's more." "More?" Jason couldn't process anything else. "The management training program at Huang Logistics. Robert told you it was a company merit scholarship, right?" "Yes, he said I qualified based on performance." "That's true, you did qualify. Your work ethic impressed him immediately." Michael paused. "But there's also a private scholarship fund, set up to honor people who show exceptional character and potential." Jason's stomach tightened. "Michael, no. It's called the Raymond Hicks Memorial Scholarship. I established it 3 years ago. Funds education and training for people who deserve a second chance." Michael's voice grew soft. "You're the first recipient, Jason, but not because of our friendship, because you earned it." "The Raymond Hicks," Jason's voice broke. "You named it after him. He saved my family, changed our lives. This scholarship is how I honor that." Michael slid the document across the table. 8 weeks of advanced management training, all expenses paid. Certification that'll qualify you for senior positions. Maybe even director level, eventually. Jason stared at the scholarship letter. Official, real, with his name on it. "I can't accept this." "Yes, you can, and you will." Michael's tone was firm but kind. "Because your daughter is watching how you handle this. She's learning whether it's okay to accept help. Whether it's brave to be vulnerable. Whether the world has good people in it." The words hit Jason like a physical blow. "Zoe," he whispered, "what are you teaching her right now, Jason? That accepting help is weakness? Or that accepting help is strength?" Michael's eyes were intense. "Mr. Hicks taught my father that accepting help isn't failure. It's wisdom. Smart people know when to let others in." Jason put his head in his hands, felt tears coming, couldn't stop them. "I wanted to do this myself, wanted to provide for my family without help. That's what men do. That's what pride says men do. But real strength, real courage?" Michael's voice was gentle. "That's asking for help when you need it. That's accepting kindness when it's offered. That's letting your neighbor carry part of your burden." Jason looked up. tears streaming down his face. Why? Why do you care this much? I'm nobody, a stranger. Michael was quiet for a long moment. His expression shifted, became vulnerable in a way Jason had never seen. When I was 11 years old, Michael said slowly, I watched my father cry. He was sitting at a kitchen table, just like this one, surrounded by bills he couldn't pay, foreclosure notices, eviction warnings. Jason held his breath. My mom was in the bedroom with my siblings trying to keep them distracted, but I understood. Michael's voice grew thick. I watched the strongest man I knew break down, watched him feel like a failure, like he'd let his family down. Michael, then Mr. Hicks knocked on our door, and he didn't just give us money. He gave us hope, gave us dignity, made my father feel like a man again, even while accepting help. Michael looked directly at Jason. That image, my father crying at that table, I've never forgotten it, never will. Silence filled the kitchen. I see my dad in you, Michael continued. See myself in Zoe. See a family fighting to survive, just like mine did. His voice cracked slightly. And I have the power to help. So how could I not? Jason understood then. This wasn't about charity, wasn't about a rich man helping a poor man. This was about trauma, about witnessing your father's pain as a child and spending the rest of your life trying to prevent other children from seeing the same thing. This was about healing for both of them. Your father, Jason said, did he ever get past the shame of accepting help? Michael smiled, small, sad. Eventually, took him years. He paid Mr. Hicks back, every dollar. Took him 4 years, but he did it. Michael paused. And you know what Mr. Hicks said when he got that final payment? What? He said, good. Now go help someone else. That's how you really pay me back. Jason wiped his eyes, looked at all the documents spread across his table. His salvation laid out in official letterhead and legal language. I'm going to pay you back, Jason said firmly. Every cent, as soon as the money comes in. I know you will. When you're ready, when you can. Michael stood up. But there's no rush, no deadline, no interest. Just pay it forward when you get the chance. Jason stood too, extended his hand. Thank you, he said, voice raw. Thank you doesn't cover it, but thank you. They shook hands, man to man, neighbor to neighbor. Don't thank me yet, Michael said. You still have to survive me coaching Zoe. I'm going to be hard on her. Jason laughed through his tears. She can handle it. Good, because I expect her on a travel team next season, and I'm going to make sure she's ready. Michael headed toward the door, then paused. Oh, one more thing. There's more? Jason couldn't imagine what else there could be. Michael pulled out one final envelope, handed it to Jason. For Zoe, open it after I leave. Then he was gone. The door closed. Michael Jordan walked back across the property line to his own estate, disappearing into the evening. Jason stood in his kitchen, holding the envelope. His hands shook. He heard footsteps on the stairs. Zoe appeared in the doorway. Dad? Was that Mr. Jordan? Why are you crying? Jason wiped his face, looked at his daughter. This brave, beautiful girl who'd watched him struggle and never complained, who'd offered to skip field trips to save money, who'd grown up too fast because she had to. Come here, sweetheart. Zoe sat next to him. Jason opened the envelope. Inside was a letter and a certificate. The letter read, Zoe, your father once told me you're a natural. He's right, but natural talent only gets you so far. Hard work, dedication, and good coaching get you the rest of the way. You've been accepted to the Midwest Elite Basketball Camp. 1 week this summer, full scholarship. You'll train with some of the best coaches in the country. Learn skills that'll make you unstoppable. You earned this. Not because of me, not because of your dad, because you work hard, because you don't quit, because you have heart. Keep practicing that left hand. Michael. Zoe stared at the letter, then at the certificate, then at Jason. Dad, is this real? Jason nodded, unable to speak. Elite camp with real coaches? Zoe's voice rose. Dad, this is everything. This is what the travel team girls do. This is... She stopped, looked at him carefully. Did he pay for this? He set up a scholarship fund. You were selected based on talent and potential. But he helped us, didn't he? With the house? With everything? Jason took a breath, decided on honesty. Yes, he helped us. A lot. Zoe was quiet for a moment. Then, is it okay to accept help, Dad? You always taught me to be independent. Jason thought about Michael's words, about what he was teaching his daughter right now. Yes, he said finally. It's okay to accept help. It's brave to accept help. Because sometimes, being strong means knowing when you can't do everything alone. Zoe hugged him, tight. I'm glad we got help, Dad. I'm glad Mr. Jordan is our neighbor. Me too, sweetheart. Me too. They sat together in the kitchen as evening turned to night. The documents spread across the table. Evidence of impossible kindness. Proof that good people still existed. That neighbors still looked out for each other. That Raymond Hicks's legacy lived on. Jason looked around his kitchen, at Elena's paintings on the walls, at Zoe's camp certificate, at the papers that represented their salvation. And he made a promise, to himself, to Michael, to Raymond Hicks, a man he'd never met but whose kindness had rippled across 40 years to save his family. One day he would be this for someone else, would knock on a door, would help a stranger who'd become a neighbor, would pay forward a debt that could never truly be repaid, only passed on. That was the real gift Michael had given him. Not money, not connections, but the understanding that you save the world one person at a time, one family at a time, one knocked-on door at a time. Jason held his daughter close and felt something he hadn't felt in months. Peace, safety, home. They were going to be okay. No, they were going to be better than okay. They were going to thrive, and someday they'd help someone else do the same. Continuation of the revelation. Jason woke up Tuesday morning feeling like he'd dreamed the entire conversation with Michael, but the documents were still there on his kitchen table. Real, tangible, proof. He made coffee and sat down to review everything again. The property refund, $6,200. The lawsuit settlement, $22,000. Total, $28,200. Minus the mortgage debt to Michael, $18,400. That left $9,800. $9,800. More money than Jason had seen in one place since Elena's medical bills had drained their savings. He could rebuild, create an emergency fund, take Zoe somewhere special, maybe even start saving for her college. Jason picked up his phone, texted Michael, I want to pay you back as soon as the money arrives, 2 months maximum. 3 dots appeared immediately. Then, only if you're comfortable. No rush. I'm comfortable. I need to do this. I understand. Coffee later? We should talk about the logistics. Jason smiled. Even now, Michael was making sure he felt in control. Giving him choices, preserving his dignity. Yes, when? Come by around 2. Use the gate. Security knows you're coming. Jason stared at that message. He was being invited into Michael Jordan's home. Not for an emergency, not for a crisis, just as a neighbor, as a friend. At work, Jason could barely focus. Robert noticed. You okay? You seem distracted. I'm good, just processing some personal stuff. Good stuff. The lawsuit settlement came through? Robert asked knowingly. Jason's head snapped up. You know about that? Jason, I did my due diligence before hiring you. Found out about the Midwest situation. Called some contacts. Robert leaned back in his chair. That company screwed over a lot of good people. I'm glad you're getting what you're owed. It's going to change everything for us. That's what justice looks like. Late, but it arrives eventually. Robert pulled up something on his computer. Speaking of which, I want to talk to you about something. The training program starts in 2 weeks, but there's also a fast-track option, compressed schedule, finish in 6 weeks instead of 8. Why would I want that? Because I'm opening a new distribution center in August. I need a facility manager, someone who understands operations, can build a team from scratch, manage the chaos of a startup location. Robert looked at him directly. Salary would be $95,000, full benefits package, company car. Jason couldn't breathe. Robert, I've been here 1 week, and you've already identified 3 efficiency improvements that'll save us $60,000 a year. You have instincts most people take years to develop. Robert smiled. This isn't charity, Jason. This is me recognizing talent and locking it down before someone else steals you. I don't know what to say. Say you'll consider it. Take the fast-track training. Show me what you can do. If you're ready by August, the job is yours. Jason nodded slowly. I'll do it. The fast-track program. I'm ready. Good. I'll get you enrolled. Robert stood, extended his hand. Michael was right about you. You're going to do great things here. After Robert left, Jason sat alone in his office. $95,000, company car, facility manager. 6 months ago, he'd been a senior supervisor making $52,000, then unemployed, then stocking shelves for minimum wage. Now this. Life could change so fast, could fall apart in weeks, could rebuild in days, all because one neighbor had cared enough to look, to really see, to help. At 2 p.m., Jason walked through Michael Jordan's gate. Security nodded him through. Mr. Jordan is expecting you. Main house, front door. Jason walked up the long driveway, past perfectly maintained gardens, past the pool, past the basketball court where legends had probably played. Michael opened the door before Jason could knock. Casual clothes, bare feet, just a man in his home. Come in. Want something to drink? Water? Soda? Water's good. They walked through a house that belonged in a magazine, but it wasn't cold or pretentious. Family photos everywhere. Kids' artwork on the fridge. Lived in, loved. Michael led him to a comfortable den. They sat in leather chairs that probably cost more than Jason's car. So, Michael said, you want to talk about repayment? I do. The property refund should arrive this week. The lawsuit settlement in 60 days, maybe sooner. I want to pay you the full $18,400 within 2 months. Michael nodded. Okay, if that's what you need to do. It is. I need to know I did this, that I took care of my family. Jason paused. But I also want to say something. Thank you doesn't cover what you've done. You didn't just save my house. You saved my daughter's childhood. You saved my belief that good people still exist. Michael was quiet for a moment. You would have figured it out eventually. Found another way. Maybe, maybe not. But I didn't have to. Because you were there. Jason leaned forward. Why did you really do this, Michael? The full truth. Michael stood, walked to a bookshelf, pulled down a framed photo, handed it to Jason. The picture showed a young Michael Jordan, maybe 13 years old, standing with an older black man in front of a modest house. Both were smiling. The man's hand rested on young Michael's shoulder. That's Raymond Hicks, Michael said quietly. Taken 2 weeks after he saved my family. My dad insisted on that photo. Said he wanted to remember the day our luck changed. Jason studied the photo, saw the hope in young Michael's eyes, the gratitude in his father's face, visible behind the camera's reflection. Mr. Hicks died when I was 19, Michael continued. Heart attack, quick. He didn't suffer. Michael's voice grew thick. I was at college, came home for the funeral. The whole neighborhood showed up, people I didn't even know. He helped a lot of families, dozens, over decades, never asked for recognition, never wanted credit. Michael took the photo back, looked at it. At his funeral, person after person stood up and told stories. How Raymond had paid their electric bill when it got shut off. How he'd bought school supplies for their kids. How he'd given them rides to job interviews. Small acts, constant kindness. Jason felt his throat tighten. My dad spoke, Michael said, told everyone what Raymond had done for us. How he'd saved our house, got him a job, changed our entire trajectory. Michael's voice cracked. My dad said, Raymond Hicks taught me that wealth isn't about money. It's about what you do with what you have. And Raymond was the richest man I ever knew. Silence filled the room. After the funeral, I made a promise, Michael continued. When I made it big, if I made it big, I'd be Raymond Hicks for someone else. Multiple people if I could. I'd use whatever success I had to help people who needed it. And you have millions to charity. That's different. That's writing checks. That's easy. Michael set the photo down carefully. But this, looking my neighbor in the eye and saying, "I see you struggling, and I'm going to help," that's what Raymond did. That's personal. That's real. Jason understood completely now. This wasn't about guilt or obligation. This was about love, about honoring someone who'd shown kindness when it mattered most. "I'm going to be Raymond Hicks for someone else too," Jason said firmly. "I don't know when or how, but I will. I promise you that." Michael smiled. "I know you will. That's why I helped you, because I could see it in you. The same thing Raymond saw in my dad. Good people recognize other good people." They sat in comfortable silence for a moment. "There's one more thing," Michael said. He pulled out another envelope. "I didn't mention this yesterday because it was too much information at once." Jason's stomach tightened. "What now?" "The travel basketball team Zoe wants to join. Registration opens next month." "Right, I can afford it now. The fees, the travel costs, all of it. She's going to make the team, I have no doubt." Michael handed him the envelope. "But there's also this, a sponsorship program for promising young athletes. Covers equipment, private coaching sessions, tournament fees for 3 years." Jason opened the envelope. Another scholarship letter, another program Michael had probably created. "Zoe qualified?" Jason asked. "Based on a talent evaluation I arranged. Anonymous scout. Watched her practice through the fence." Michael smiled. "She earned it, Jason. This isn't me pulling strings. She's genuinely talented." Jason looked at the letter. 3 years of support. Everything Zoe would need to develop her skills, to reach her potential. "You've thought of everything," Jason whispered. "I've tried. But here's the thing, Jason. I'm not going to be around forever to help. This sponsorship, it runs for 3 years. After that, Zoe's future is up to you and her." Michael's voice grew serious. "I'm giving her a foundation. You have to help her build on it." "I will, I promise." "Good, because she's special. Reminds me of myself at that age. Hungry, determined, won't quit." Michael stood. "But talent only gets you so far. She needs a father who believes in her, who sacrifices for her, who shows up." "I'll show up. Every game, every practice, everything. I know you will." Michael walked Jason toward the door. "One more thing. The facility manager job Robert offered you?" Jason stopped. "You knew about that too?" "I didn't arrange it. But Robert called me this morning, asked my opinion. I told him you were perfect for it." Michael smiled. "So don't screw it up. You're representing me now." Jason laughed. "No pressure." "All the pressure, but I believe in you." Michael opened the front door. "Oh, and Jason, about paying me back. There's no rush, but when you do make that final payment, I want you to add something." "What?" "A list, 5 names. People in your life who might need help. People who are struggling. People you've noticed." Michael's eyes were serious. "Because that's how this works. You help others. They help others. The cycle continues." Jason felt tears building again. "Raymond Hicks asked your dad for the same thing?" "He did. And my dad gave him 12 names. Raymond helped 7 of them before he died." Michael's voice grew soft. "Some debts you pay back. Some debts you pay forward. This is the second kind." They shook hands on the doorstep. 2 neighbors, 2 friends, 2 men connected by 40 years of kindness rippling forward. "Thank you, Michael, for everything. Thank you for letting me help, for giving me the chance to be Raymond Hicks for someone else." Michael smiled. "Now go home. Zoe's probably waiting to tell you about her day." Jason walked back across the property line, back to his small house with the basketball hoop, back to his life that had been saved and rebuilt and given hope again. But something had changed. He wasn't just a man who'd been helped. He was now part of a legacy, part of a chain of kindness that stretched back decades and would continue forward for generations. Raymond Hicks had helped Michael's family. Michael had helped Jason's family. And someday, Jason would help someone else's family. That was the real gift, not the money, the mission, to see people, to help them, to pass on the kindness that had saved you. Jason looked back at Michael's estate, saw his neighbor standing in the doorway, watching him walk home, making sure he made it safely, still looking out for him, still being Raymond Hicks. Jason waved. Michael waved back. Then the door closed, and Jason Holloway walked into his house, where his daughter was waiting, where his wife's paintings hung on the walls, where his life was beginning again, ready for whatever came next, ready to pay it forward. But this isn't the unthinkable thing yet. Jason stood in his driveway, keys in hand, staring at his house. 2 weeks had passed since Michael's revelation. 2 weeks of processing, of working, of slowly accepting that his life had fundamentally changed. The property tax refund had arrived. $6,200 deposited directly into his account. Jason had stared at his bank balance for 10 minutes, unable to believe it was real. He'd called Michael immediately. "Half the money is here. I want to make a payment." "Wait for the full amount," Michael had said. "One payment, clean, final." So Jason had waited, saved every penny from his new salary, lived lean, made plans. But today, something else had arrived in the mail. Jason pulled the envelope from his pocket, read it again for the 5th time. Final settlement distribution, Midwest distribution, company class action lawsuit. Amount, $22. Payment method, direct deposit. Expected arrival, 3 to 5 business days. 3 to 5 days. By Friday, he'd have the full amount, could pay Michael back completely, could close this chapter and start fresh. Jason went inside. Zoe was at the kitchen table, homework spread out, basketball shoes kicked off by the door. She'd been practicing for 2 hours after school. Her dedication had tripled since receiving the camp acceptance letter. "Hey, Dad," she said without looking up. "Can you help me with fractions? They're confusing." "Sure, sweetheart." Jason sat down beside her. "Show me what you're working on." They worked through the math together. Jason explained. Zoe nodded, understanding clicking into place. Simple, normal, beautiful. His phone buzzed. Text from Michael. "Need to talk to you. Tonight if possible. It's important." Jason's stomach tightened. "Important? What now?" He texted back. "Sure. What time?" 7 p.m. My place." Jason looked at Zoe, still focused on her homework. "Zoe, I need to go next door tonight, to Mr. Jordan's. Will you be okay here for an hour? Can I come?" "Not tonight, adult stuff." Zoe shrugged. "Okay, I'll practice my free throws." At 7 p.m. sharp, Jason knocked on Michael's door. Michael answered immediately, but his expression was different. Serious, almost somber. "Come in, thanks for coming." They walked to the den again, but this time Michael didn't sit. He paced, nervous energy Jason had never seen before. "Michael, what's wrong?" Michael stopped pacing, looked at Jason directly. "I need to tell you something. Something I haven't told you yet. About the mortgage." Jason's heart dropped. "What about it?" "Sit down." Jason sat. His mind raced. Was there a problem? Had something gone wrong with the transfer? Michael sat across from him, took a deep breath. "When I bought your mortgage from the bank, I paid the full amount, $18,400. That's what you owe me, right?" "Right. But that's not actually what I paid." Jason froze. "What?" "The bank was willing to sell a defaulted mortgage at a discount. That's standard practice. They wanted to recover what they could and move on." Michael's voice was steady. "They offered me the mortgage for $12,000. The room spun. $12,000? I paid the full $18,400 because I wanted you to feel like you were paying back the real amount. Wanted you to have your dignity, to feel like you'd really done it." Michael leaned forward. "But Jason, you need to know the truth. The actual debt is $12,000. Jason couldn't process this. "Why are you telling me this now?" "Because you're about to pay me back, and I can't let you do it without knowing the full picture." Michael's voice grew intense. "You've been stressed about paying back $18,000, saving every penny, but you don't actually owe that much. But the legal papers say you owe me what I paid for the mortgage, which was $18,400. That's what I told David to write. That's what's legal and binding." Michael paused. "But morally, ethically, you owe $12,000. That's the debt. The rest is me trying to make you feel capable. Jason stood up, turned away, processing. So you lied to me? I protected your dignity. There's a difference. Michael's voice was firm. Would you have accepted help if you knew I'd gotten a discount? Would you have felt like a charity case? Yes, Jason would have. Would have felt like Michael was buying his problems at a discount. Would have felt small, pitied. You're right, Jason said quietly. I would have hated it. Exactly. So I paid full price, made it a real transaction, man to man, dollar for dollar. Michael stood. But now you need to know the truth, because when you pay me back, I want you to pay back what you actually owe. $12,000, not a penny more. Jason turned. What about the other $6,000? Keep it, save it, use it for Zoe's future. Use it to help someone else. Michael walked closer. That's the real gift, Jason, not the mortgage. The extra $6,000 that lets you rebuild. That gives you breathing room. Jason felt dizzy. This whole time, you've been planning this? Every detail, from the moment I decided to help. Michael's eyes were intense. You needed to feel capable, needed to feel like you'd earned your way back, but you also needed actual help, real, substantial help. So I gave you both. By lying, by protecting your dignity while still giving you what you needed. Michael didn't apologize. Raymond Hicks did the same thing for my family. He told my dad the amount he was giving us, but years later we found out he'd given us more, paid extra bills we didn't know about. Let us think we'd paid him back fully when he'd actually forgiven some of it. Jason sat down heavily. So this is tradition? This is how you help people without breaking them. You give them truth and fiction in the right proportions. Michael sat beside him. I'm telling you now because you deserve to know, before you pay me back, so you can make an informed decision. What decision? Whether to pay me the $12,000 you actually owe or the $18,000 you think you owe. Michael's voice softened. Either way is fine. Your choice, your dignity, your call. Jason stared at the floor. His mind spun with calculations, with emotions, with the complexity of what Michael had done. You gave me more help than you told me, Jason said slowly. Let me think I was being self-sufficient when you were carrying more weight than I knew. Yes. And now you're telling me, even though you could have just accepted the full payment, and I'd never know. Yes, because you deserve the truth, and because I think you're ready for it. Jason looked at Michael, saw the vulnerability there, the risk Michael was taking by revealing this, the trust. I'm going to pay you $12,000, Jason said firmly. The actual debt. What's fair? Good. But the other $6,000? I'm not keeping it for myself. Michael raised an eyebrow. What are you going to do with it? I'm going to start a fund, the Jason and Elena Holloway Family Fund, for neighbors who need help, for families facing foreclosure, for people who deserve a second chance. Jason's voice grew stronger. And when it grows big enough, I'm going to help someone the way you helped me. Michael smiled. Actually smiled. Raymond Hicks would love that. This is how it works, right? You help me. I help someone else. They help someone else. Jason felt something shift inside him. Purpose, mission, legacy. That's the real gift, not the money, the responsibility. Exactly. Michael stood, extended his hand. Welcome to the club, Jason. The Raymond Hicks Legacy Club. Population small, impact massive. They shook hands, but this time it felt different. Not benefactor and recipient. Partners. Brothers in a mission that stretched across generations. When the settlement money arrives, I'll bring you $12,000 in cash, Jason said. The rest goes into the fund. Perfect. And Jason, Michael's grip tightened slightly. Don't wait too long to help someone. The world needs more Raymond Hicks, more people willing to knock on doors and do the unthinkable. What is the unthinkable? Jason asked. Really? Because buying my mortgage seems pretty thinkable for someone with your resources. Michael was quiet for a long moment. The unthinkable isn't about the money. It's about seeing someone, really seeing them. Not just their struggle, but their worth, their potential, their humanity. He paused. The unthinkable is looking at your neighbor, someone you barely know, and deciding their life matters as much as your own, that their family deserves saving, that their pain is worth easing. Jason felt tears building. That's what you did. That's what Raymond Hicks did. I'm just passing it on. Michael walked him to the door. But here's the real unthinkable thing, Jason. The part I haven't told you yet. There's more? Michael opened the door, pointed across the property line to Jason's house. I'm not just buying your mortgage. I'm not just paying for Zoe's camps and sponsorships. I'm not just getting you jobs and training. Then what are you doing? I'm giving you back your future. I'm making sure Zoe grows up knowing the world has good people in it. I'm teaching her, through you, that accepting help is brave, that community matters, that we're all connected. Michael's voice grew thick. I'm making sure Elena's sacrifice wasn't in vain, that the family she fought so hard to protect stays together, thrives, succeeds. Jason couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. That's the unthinkable thing, Michael said quietly. I'm honoring a woman I never met by protecting the family she loved. That's what Raymond Hicks did for us. He honored my mother's struggle by making sure her family survived it. The tears came then. Jason didn't try to stop them. Elena would have loved you, Jason whispered, would have been so grateful. I wish I could have met her. From everything you've said, she was extraordinary. Michael's own eyes glistened. But I can still honor her by making sure her daughter has every opportunity, by making sure her husband knows he's not alone, by keeping her family in the home she loved. They stood on the doorstep in silence. Two men connected by loss, by kindness, by legacy. Thank you, Jason said, for all of it, for seeing us, for caring, for being unthinkable. Thank Raymond Hicks. I'm just the messenger. Michael smiled. Now go home, hug your daughter, look at your wife's paintings, be grateful, and then start planning how you're going to be unthinkable for someone else. Jason walked home in the dark. The February air was cold, but he barely felt it. His mind buzzed with everything Michael had said. The truth about the mortgage discount, the real amount owed, the mission to help others. He walked into his house. Zoe was shooting free throws in the driveway despite the cold, practicing under the porch light. 23 in a row, she called out. New record. That's amazing, sweetheart. Jason stood in his doorway, watching his daughter practice. Thought about Elena, about Michael, about Raymond Hicks, about the chain of kindness that had saved them. And he made a vow. Within a year, he would help someone else, would knock on a door, would do something unthinkable, would pass on the legacy that had saved his life. But first, he had to pay back what he owed, had to close this chapter properly, had to earn the right to help others by first helping himself. 3 more days until the settlement money arrived. 3 days until he could pay Michael the $12,000. 3 days until he could start his own fund with the remaining $10,000. 3 days until Jason Holloway transformed from someone who needed help into someone who gave it. The cycle was continuing. The debt was being paid forward. And somewhere, Raymond Hicks was smiling. Jason was certain of it. The changes. May arrived with warmth and new growth. Trees bloomed. Flowers pushed through the soil. The world felt reborn. Jason sat in his new office at Huang Logistics, looking at the nameplate on his door. Jason Holloway, Regional Operations Manager. He'd completed the fast-track training program in 5 weeks, passed every test, impressed every instructor. Robert had promoted him 2 weeks ago. The facility manager position would come in August, but this promotion had come early. $95,000 salary, company car, a sensible Honda Accord that drove like a dream. Benefits package that included dental and vision. His phone buzzed. Text from Terrence. Lunch today? My treat. Want to hear about the new job? Jason smiled. Terrence had been there through everything, had given him money when he had none, had offered his basement when foreclosure loomed. Good brother, best brother. Noon, Mario's Pizza? Perfect, see you there. Jason returned to his work. Inventory projections for the 3rd quarter, distribution efficiency reports, team performance reviews, real work, meaningful work, work that made him feel valuable again. His desk photo caught his eye. Elena, Zoe and him at the beach 3 years ago. Happier times, simpler times. But maybe these times were better. Harder earned, more appreciated. Next to it sat a smaller frame. The photo Michael had shown him. Young Michael with Raymond Hicks. Michael had given him a copy. "So you never forget where this started," he'd said. Jason never would forget. Every day he looked at that photo and remembered. The knock on the door. The impossible kindness. The debt being paid forward across 40 years. At lunch, Terrence couldn't stop smiling. "Man, you look different. Healthy, happy." Terrence bit into his pizza. "I was worried about you." "Jason, really worried. Thought you might break." "I almost did. Got close." Jason sipped his water. "But then Michael knocked on my door." "Still can't believe Michael Jordan is your neighbor, and that he did all that." "I paid him back 3 months ago. Full $12,000 in cash." Jason had made an occasion of it, had driven to Michael's house with Zoe, had counted out the money at Michael's kitchen table, had shaken hands like men conducting business. He tried to refuse it, said I should keep it, but I insisted. "Proud of you, brother." And the extra $10,000 from the settlement? Started a fund? The Jessen and Elena Holloway family fund? It's sitting in an account, waiting for the right opportunity. Jason leaned forward. "I'm looking for someone to help, Terry. Someone like me. Someone who needs a hand up." Terrence's eyes grew wet. "Elena would be so proud of you. I think about her every day. Wonder what she'd say about all this." Jason looked out the window at the spring sunshine. "I think she'd tell me to stop wondering and start doing. She never waited for perfect moments. She created them." "Truth." Terrence finished his pizza. "How's Zoe doing?" "Thriving. Made the travel basketball team. First game is Saturday." Jason couldn't contain his smile. "Michael comes to every practice, stands at the fence watching, coaching through the fence." The other parents think it's hilarious that Michael Jordan is the unofficial assistant coach. "Does he come to games?" "He came to the first one, sat in the stands like a regular dad, wore a baseball cap and sunglasses. Nobody recognized him." Jason laughed. "He bought Zoe ice cream after. Told her she needs to work on her defense. She was over the moon." "That's beautiful, man. That's family." Family. Jason hadn't thought of it that way. But Terrence was right. Michael had become family. Not blood family, but chosen family. The kind that shows up. The kind that stays. That evening, Jason was doing paperwork when Zoe burst through the door. Dad, you'll never believe what happened." Jason looked up from his laptop. Zoe was flushed, excited, bouncing on her toes. "What happened?" "Coach Henderson said a scout is coming to our tournament next month. A real scout. From a national development program." Zoe could barely contain herself. "She said they only watch the best players, and she nominated me." Pride exploded in Jason's chest. "That's incredible, Zoe. I'm so proud of you." "It's because of Mr. Jordan. The camp helped so much, and his coaching, and the sponsorship that got me better shoes and that basketball trainer." Zoe grabbed her dad's hands. "Dad, what if I really make it? What if I get good enough for college? For professional basketball?" "Then you'll do it. You'll work hard and achieve it." Jason pulled her into a hug. "But even if you don't, even if basketball doesn't work out, you're still amazing. You're smart. You're kind. You're brave. That matters more than any sport." "I know, Dad, but I really love basketball." "Then love it. Give it everything. See where it takes you." Jason held her at arm's length. "Your mom loved watching you play, even when you were little, just learning. She knew you'd be special." "I wish she could see me now." "She can. I believe that. She's watching every game, cheering the loudest." Zoe smiled through tears. "You think Mr. Jordan knew Mom was watching when he decided to help us?" Jason thought about that, about Elena's presence in their home, about Michael honoring a woman he'd never met by protecting her family. "Yeah," Jason said softly. "I think he did." The next Saturday, Jason sat in the bleachers at Zoe's basketball game. The gym was packed, parents cheering, kids running, energy everywhere. Michael sat 2 rows behind him, baseball cap pulled low. He'd shown up quietly, bought a hot dog from the concession stand, settled into his seat like any other parent. Jason turned around. "Thanks for coming." "Wouldn't miss it. Zoe's been working hard." Michael watched the warm-ups. "Her left hand is so much better. Told you she'd improve." "You were right." The game started. Zoe played point guard, dribbled with confidence, made smart passes, hit 2 3-pointers in the first quarter. Michael leaned forward during a timeout. "See that hesitation move she just did? That's instinct. Can't teach that. She's got it." Jason glowed with pride. "She gets it from her mom. Elena never hesitated, always knew what she wanted and went for it. Good trait to inherit." The game continued. Zoe's team won by 12 points. She scored 16 points, had 7 assists. Coach Henderson praised her after the game. Teammates high-fived her. Michael approached as the crowd dispersed, took off his sunglasses. "Good game, Zoe. That second-half adjustment you made, reading their defense and attacking the weak side, that was smart basketball." Zoe beamed. "Thanks. Did you see my crossover in the third quarter?" "I did, crisp. But your footwork on that last fast break was sloppy. You were leaning, lost balance." Zoe's smile didn't fade. She loved his honesty, loved that he coached her for real, not with fake praise. "I'll work on it." "I know you will. That's why you're good." Michael nodded to Jason. "Ice cream? My treat, but only if Zoe promises to practice her defensive stance this week." "Deal!" Zoe grabbed her bag. "Can we go to Morton's? They have the good chocolate chip." They walked to the ice cream shop together. 3 people who'd started as strangers and become something more. Something that looked like family. A week later, Jason received a call at work. Unknown number. "Hello? Mr. Holloway, this is Patricia Brennan. I'm with the Highland Park Community Center. Michael Jordan gave me your name." Jason's stomach tightened with curiosity. "Okay? We have a family in our system. Single father, 2 kids. He lost his job 6 months ago. They're facing eviction next week. $12,000 behind on rent." Patricia paused. "Michael said you might be able to help, that you have a family fund?" Jason's heart started pounding. This was it. The moment. The opportunity to pay it forward. "Tell me about him, about the family," Patricia explained. "James Chen, 38 years old. 2 daughters, ages 7 and 10. His wife had died in a car accident 2 years ago. He'd been working as a software developer, but got laid off when his company downsized. He'd been applying for jobs, getting interviews, but nothing had come through yet. Too specialized for some positions, too expensive for others. The unemployment had run out. The savings had dried up. Now they were 10 days from losing their apartment. "He's a good man," Patricia said. "Volunteers at the community center, helped us build our new computer lab last year. His daughters are sweet kids, smart. They don't deserve this." Jason thought about his own story, the parallels, the familiar descent into desperation. "How much does he need? Total?" $12,000 for back rent, maybe another $3,000 to get stable. First month's rent for a new place if he has to move. Deposit, moving costs. $15,000. Jason had $10,000 in the fund. His own savings had grown to $8,000. He could cover it, could do this. "I want to meet him," Jason said. "Today if possible, at the community center." "Really? You're considering helping?" "I'm not considering. I'm doing it." Jason felt certainty flow through him. "Set up a meeting, 5 p.m. today. I'll be there." At 4:55 p.m., Jason walked into the Highland Park Community Center. Patricia met him at the door. Middle-aged woman, kind eyes, tired smile. "Thank you for coming. James is in the conference room. He's nervous. Doesn't know who you are or why you're here." "That's fine. Let's go talk to him." They walked to a small conference room. Inside sat a thin Asian man with worry lines etched deep in his face. Glasses, button-down shirt with frayed cuffs. The look of someone trying to hold it together while falling apart. James stood when Jason entered. "Mr. Holloway, I'm James Chen. Patricia said you wanted to meet me?" Jason shook his hand. felt the desperation in that grip, the same desperation he'd felt 3 months ago. "Sit down, James. Let's talk." They sat across from each other. Patricia left them alone. "I don't understand," James said. "Patricia said you might be able to help with the rent? But I don't know you. Why would you help me?" Jason looked at this man, saw himself, saw his own fear reflected back. "3 months ago, I was you," Jason said quietly. "Lost my job, couldn't pay my mortgage, facing foreclosure. I had a 9-year-old daughter and no idea how to save our home." James's eyes widened. "What happened?" "My neighbor knocked on my door, someone I barely knew, and he helped me, bought my mortgage, got me a job, saved my family." Jason leaned forward. "Now it's my turn to be that neighbor for someone else. I can't accept charity. I'm trying to handle this myself. I said the same thing, told my neighbor I didn't need help, that I'd figure it out." Jason's voice was firm but gentle. "But you know what he told me? He said accepting help isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Smart people know when to let others in." James's composure cracked. Tears welled up. "I don't want my daughters to lose their home. We already lost their mother. I can't let them lose everything else too." Jason felt his own throat tighten. "You won't. I'm going to help you. $15,000, back rent plus 3 months forward. Gives you time to find work without the pressure." "Why? Why would you do this for a stranger?" Jason pulled out the photo from his wallet, the one Michael had given him, young Michael and Raymond Hicks. "Because 40 years ago, a man named Raymond Hicks helped a family in need. Then that family helped my family. Now I'm helping yours." Jason smiled. "That's how it works. You don't pay me back. You pay it forward. When you're stable again, you help someone else." James stared at the photo, at Jason. "This is real. You're really going to help us." "I'm really going to help you." Jason pulled out his checkbook, wrote the check right there, $15,000. "Here, take this to your landlord. Get caught up, get stable. Take care of your daughters." James took the check with shaking hands, stared at it like it was a miracle. "I don't know what to say. Say you'll help someone else when you can. That's all I ask." Jason stood, extended his hand. "And James, you're going to be okay, I promise. The hard part is almost over." They shook hands. James was crying openly now. "Thank you. God, thank you so much. Thank Raymond Hicks. Thank Michael Jordan. Thank every person who's ever knocked on a door and done something unthinkable." Jason headed for the door, then paused. "Oh, and James, I might know someone who's hiring software developers. Let me make a call." He left James sitting in that conference room, holding a check that would save his family. Crying tears of relief that Jason remembered all too well. Outside, Jason called Robert Huang. "Robert, I have a favor to ask." That night, Jason told Zoe what he'd done. They sat at the kitchen table, the same table where Michael had revealed everything 3 months ago. "You gave away $15,000? Zoe asked. "I did, to a family that needed it." "The money from your fund? The Elena fund?" "Yes, and some of my own savings. But it's okay. We're stable now. We can afford it." Jason took her hand. "And your mom would want us to help. She always helped people. Remember?" Zoe nodded slowly. "She gave food to homeless people and bought school supplies for kids whose parents couldn't afford them." "Exactly. She believed in helping others. So this is how we honor her, by continuing what she started." Zoe was quiet for a moment. Then, "Can I help too, with the next family?" Jason felt his heart swell. "How?" "I have $300 saved, from birthdays and helping Mrs. Patterson with her garden. Can I donate it to the fund, so we can help more people?" Jason couldn't speak for a moment. His 9-year-old daughter wanted to give her savings to help strangers. "Yes," he whispered. "Yes, you can donate it. Your mom would be so proud of you." "I think Mr. Jordan would be proud too." "I know he would be." Jason pulled her into a hug. "You're exactly who your mom hoped you'd become. Kind, generous, brave." They sat together in the kitchen as evening turned to night, making plans, talking about who they could help next, how they could grow the fund, how they could be Raymond Hicks for more people. Outside, through the fence, a light was on in Michael Jordan's house. He stood at his window, looking at the small house next door. Watching, always watching. His phone buzzed. Text from Patricia Brennan. Jason Holloway just saved the Chen family. Gave them $15,000. No hesitation. Just helped. Michael smiled. Typed back, good. That's exactly what Raymond would have done. He looked at the photo on his desk. Raymond Hicks, smiling. Young Michael grinning beside him. We did it, Mr. Hicks, Michael whispered. We passed it on. The cycle continued. The debt was being paid forward. And somewhere in heaven, Raymond Hicks was definitely smiling. 3 families saved. 3 generations of kindness. 40 years of legacy. And it was only beginning. 1 year after the knock. November came with golden leaves and cool air. A year had passed since Jason Holloway had sat at his kitchen table, surrounded by foreclosure notices, believing his world was ending. Now he stood in the same kitchen, coffee in hand, looking at Elena's paintings on the walls. The house felt full of life again, full of hope, full of purpose. His phone buzzed. Text from James Chen. Just got promoted to senior developer. $115K salary. Time for me to pay it forward. Any families that need help? Jason smiled. James had not only found work, through Robert's connection, but had thrived. In 6 months, he'd become one of the company's top performers, and now he wanted to help someone else. Jason typed back, I have a list. Let's meet this week. Coffee? Absolutely. And Jason, thank you for everything. You saved our lives. Thank Raymond Hicks. I'm just the messenger. Jason poured his coffee and sat down, opened his laptop to the spreadsheet he'd been maintaining. The Jason and Elena Holloway family fund had grown. His initial $10,000 minus the $10,000 given to James Chen, plus Zoe's $300, plus new contributions from James, $2,000, from Terrence, $500, from co-workers who'd heard the story, or $1,800. Current balance, $4,000 and $600. Not enough to help a whole family, but enough to start, enough to make a difference in someone's life. Jason's email dinged. Message from Patricia at the community center. Jason, yo, we have another situation. Single mother, 3 kids, medical emergency wiped out her savings, needs $3,000 for rent and utilities this month. Her name is Sarah Mitchell. Can you meet her? Jason didn't hesitate. Typed back, yes. When? Today, 4 p.m. I'll be there. At work, Jason sat in his new office. Facility manager. The promotion had come through in August, exactly as Robert had promised. The new distribution center was operational, running smoothly, exceeding projections. Jason had built the team from scratch, hired 42 people, created systems, established culture. The center was profitable within its first month, nearly unheard of in the industry. Robert had been thrilled. You're exactly what I hoped you'd be. Better, actually. Now Jason was being considered for a director position, multi-site oversight, $120,000 salary. They'd tell him next month. His desk phone rang. Jason Holloway. Jason, it's Michael. You busy? Jason smiled at the sound of his neighbor's voice. They talked regularly now, not just about basketball or Zoe, about life, about helping others, about Raymond Hicks's legacy. Never too busy for you. What's up? I wanted to run something by you. I'm establishing a foundation, the Raymond Hicks Foundation for Community Support. Real structure, board of directors, annual fundraising, the works. Michael's voice was excited. And I want you on the board. Jason nearly dropped the phone. Me? On a foundation board? You understand the mission better than anyone. You've lived both sides, receiving help and giving it. Your perspective is invaluable. Michael paused. Plus, you're good at this. Really good. The Chen family is thriving because of you. James did the work. I just gave him breathing room. That's exactly it. You gave him space to succeed. That's what Raymond did for us. That's what we need to do for others. Michael's voice grew serious. I'm putting in $2 million to start, but I need people who understand poverty, who felt desperation, who know what it's like to need help and be too proud to ask for it. Michael, I don't know anything about running a foundation. You know about helping people. That's more important than any business degree. Michael laughed. Besides, I didn't know anything about basketball when I started. I learned. You'll learn this too. Jason felt overwhelmed, honored, terrified. When do you need an answer? Take a week, think about it. Talk to Zoe. Michael's voice softened. This is going to be big, Jason. We're going to help hundreds of families, maybe thousands. But I need the right people beside me. People who remember where they came from. I'll think about it, I promise. After hanging up, Jason sat in silence. A foundation, real structure. Thousands of families helped. This was bigger than one neighbor helping another. This was Raymond Hicks's legacy becoming something permanent. Something that would outlive all of them. At 4 p.m., Jason walked into the community center. Patricia met him with a tired smile. Thanks for coming. Sarah's in the conference room. Fair warning, she's proud. Doesn't want to accept help, but she's desperate. I understand proud, Jason said. I'll handle it. The woman in the conference room was in her mid-30s, exhausted, dark circles under her eyes. Work uniform from a hospital. She was a nurse's aide, Patricia had said. Sarah Mitchell? Jason extended his hand. I'm Jason Holloway. Sarah stood reluctantly. Patricia said you wanted to meet me. I don't understand why. They sat. Jason studied her face, saw the same fear he'd worn a year ago, the same desperate attempt to appear strong while crumbling inside. Tell me what's happening, Jason said gently, in your own words. Sarah's jaw tightened. My son had an emergency appendectomy last month. Insurance covered most of it, but not all. The deductible was $5,000. I had to use everything to pay it. Her voice cracked. Now I'm $3,000 short for rent and utilities. I've been working double shifts, but it's not enough. Not fast enough. Where are the kids' father? Gone. Left 2 years ago. Doesn't pay child support. I've tried legal routes, but... She shrugged. I'm on my own. Jason nodded. How old are your kids? 12, 9, and 6. Good kids. Smart. They don't deserve to lose their home because I couldn't save enough. The same guilt Jason had felt. The same self-blame. Sarah, I'm going to help you. $3,000, rent and utilities. Gives you time to catch up without the pressure. Sarah's eyes widened. What? No, I can't accept. Yes, you can. And you will. Jason's voice was firm but kind. A year ago, I was sitting where you are, facing foreclosure, terrified, ashamed. My neighbor helped me, changed my life. Now I'm paying it forward. But I don't know you. Why would you? Jason pulled out his wallet, showed her the photo of Raymond Hicks and young Michael. This man helped a family 40 years ago. That family helped mine. I'm helping yours. That's how it works. Sarah stared at the photo. Who is that? His name was Raymond Hicks. He was a postal worker. Didn't have much money, but he helped people anyway. Started a chain of kindness that's still going today. Tears rolled down Sarah's face. I've been so scared, so alone. You're not alone anymore. Jason pulled out his checkbook, wrote the check, $3,000. Take this, get stable, breathe. And Sarah, when you're back on your feet, help someone else. That's all I ask. Sarah took the check with shaking hands, looked at it, at Jason, at the photo of Raymond Hicks. I will, she whispered. I promise I will. Good. Because that's how we change the world. One family at a time, one knocked-on door at a time. That evening, Jason told Zoe about Sarah. They sat on the back porch watching the sunset. Basketball practice was over. Dinner was done. Just father and daughter talking about the day. That's 3 families now, Zoe said. The Chen family. Now Sarah. Who else? There was also Mrs. Patterson down the street. I helped her with car repairs last month. $800. Jason smiled. She's elderly, fixed income. Couldn't afford the transmission work. I took care of it. That's nice, Dad. Zoe was quiet for a moment. Do you think Mom would be happy with what we're doing? Jason felt his throat tighten. I think she'd be thrilled. Your mom always said the meaning of life was helping others, making the world a little better. That's what we're doing. I wish she could see us now, see how everything turned out. She can. I believe that with everything in me. Jason put his arm around Zoe. She's watching you become an amazing young woman, watching us honor her memory by helping people. She's so proud of you. Of us, Zoe corrected. She's proud of us. They sat in comfortable silence as stars began appearing in the darkening sky. Mr. Jordan invited us for Thanksgiving, Zoe said suddenly. Did he tell you? Jason blinked. No. When did he invite us? This morning, before school. I was shooting hoops and he came to the fence. Said he's having a small dinner. Just family and close friends. He wants us to come. Jason felt emotion swell in his chest. Family and close friends. That's what they'd become. What did you tell him? I said I'd ask you. But I want to go, Dad. He's family. Yeah, Jason said softly. He is family. Let's do it. The next morning, Jason knocked on Michael's door. Michael answered in workout clothes, towel around his neck. Jason, come in. I was just finishing my morning routine. They walked to the kitchen. Michael poured coffee. Zoe told me about Thanksgiving. Thank you for inviting us. Of course, you're family now. Michael sat down. So, have you thought about the foundation? About joining the board? Jason had thought about little else. I want to say yes, but I'm scared I'm not qualified. Nobody's qualified until they do the work. That's true for anything worth doing. Michael leaned forward. But I need to tell you something. About the foundation, about what we're really building. Okay, this isn't just about money. It's about changing how people think about poverty, about need, about community. Michael's voice grew intense. The world treats poverty like a personal failure, like people who struggle are lazy or stupid or weak. But you and I know that's a lie. Jason nodded. He'd felt that judgment, had internalized it, had believed he was failing. The foundation is going to tell different stories, Michael continued. Stories like yours, like James Chen's, like Sarah Mitchell's. Good people hit by bad circumstances, working hard but still struggling, deserving help, not shame. How do we do that? By being visible, by talking about it publicly, by you telling your story. Michael paused. I want you to be the face of this foundation, Jason. The living example of what we do and why it matters. Jason's stomach dropped. Public? Like media? Eventually, yes. Interviews, speaking engagements, showing people what Raymond Hicks's legacy looks like in action. Michael's eyes were steady. I know it's scary. I know you're private. But your story can change how people think, can inspire others to help, can make pride less expensive. Jason stood, walked to the window, looked at his house across the property line. I spent so long being ashamed, he said quietly. Ashamed I needed help, ashamed I couldn't provide, ashamed I was failing. I know, my dad felt the same way. If telling my story helps someone else feel less ashamed, if it makes them ask for help sooner, Jason turned. Then I'll do it. I'll be the face of the foundation. Michael smiled, stood, shook his hand. Thank you. You just made Raymond Hicks's legacy permanent, real, unstoppable. When do we start? First board meeting is next month. We'll plan the launch, figure out structure, set goals. Michael's excitement was palpable. This is going to change lives, Jason. Thousands of lives. I hope so, because nobody should face foreclosure alone. Nobody should cry in a closet at 2 a.m. thinking they failed their kids. Jason's voice grew firm. If we can prevent that for even one family, it's worth it. We're going to prevent it for hundreds, maybe thousands. Michael grabbed a folder from the counter. I've already been contacted by 3 other professional athletes who want to help. A tech CEO, 2 movie actors, people with resources who've been waiting for the right opportunity. Jason looked through the folder. Preliminary donor commitments. $8.6 million already pledged. This is real, Jason whispered. This is just the beginning. Michael's voice was full of determination. Raymond Hicks helped one family. We're going to help thousands. That's the power of paying it forward. Jason looked at his neighbor, his friend, the man who'd knocked on his door a year ago and changed everything. Thank you, Jason said, for seeing me, for caring, for starting all of this. Thank you for letting me help. for giving me the chance to finally repay Mr. Hicks. Michael smiled. Now let's go change the world. One knocked on door at a time. They stood in Michael's kitchen, two men connected by 40 years of kindness rippling forward, planning how to multiply that kindness 1,000-fold. Outside, the November sun shone bright. The fence between their properties stood solid, but it wasn't a barrier anymore. It was a connection, a reminder that neighbors could become family, that strangers could become saviors, that one act of kindness could echo across generations. Raymond Hicks had knocked on a door 40 years ago. Michael Jordan had knocked on Jason's door a year ago. And now together they would knock on thousands of doors. The cycle continued. The debt was being paid forward, and the world was becoming a little bit better. One family at a time, one knock at a time. 6 months after the foundation launched, Jason stood backstage at the Chicago Community Forum, adjusting his tie. His hands shook slightly. In 5 minutes, he would walk onto that stage and tell his story to 300 people. Donors, community leaders, media, people who could help the Raymond Hicks Foundation grow. You ready? Michael appeared beside him, calm as always. Terrified, Jason admitted. What if I mess up? What if I cry? What if? Then you cry. That's real. That's human. That's exactly what people need to see. Michael put a hand on his shoulder. You've told this story 100 times in smaller settings. This is the same, just more people. 100 times more people. Same story though. Your truth, your journey. Nobody can tell it better than you. Michael smiled. And remember, you're not doing this for you. You're doing it for the next Jason Holloway, the person sitting at their kitchen table right now, surrounded by foreclosure notices, thinking they're alone. Jason took a deep breath. You're right. Okay, I can do this. I know you can. Michael stepped back. I'll be in the front row. You've got this. The stage manager appeared. Mr. Holloway? 2 minutes. Jason walked to the wings, looked out at the crowded auditorium, saw Michael take his seat, saw James Chen sitting with his daughters, saw Sarah Mitchell, who'd brought her kids, saw Terrence, saw Zoe sitting with Robert Huang and his family, his people, his community, his reason for being here. The introduction began. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jason Holloway, Director of Community Outreach for the Raymond Hicks Foundation. Jason walked onto the stage. The lights were bright. The microphone seemed impossibly loud. But he looked at Zoe's face in the crowd and remembered why he was doing this. Thank you for being here, Jason began. His voice steadied. 18 months ago, I was sitting at my kitchen table, holding foreclosure notices. I'd lost my job, lost my savings, lost my hope. I had a 9-year-old daughter in 14 days until we lost our home. The room was silent, listening. I was ashamed, couldn't tell my family how bad things were, couldn't ask for help because asking for help felt like admitting I'd failed. Jason paused. That shame almost cost me everything. He told them about the job loss, the mortgage payments he couldn't make, the grocery store job that wasn't enough, the moment he realized they were going to lose the house where his wife had died, where his daughter had grown up. Then one evening, my neighbor knocked on my door. Jason's voice grew stronger. Michael Jordan, yes, that Michael Jordan, knocked on my door and said, I heard what's happening. Can I come in? People leaned forward, captivated. Jason told them everything, how Michael had bought his mortgage, how he'd found the property tax error and the lawsuit settlement, how he'd gotten Jason a job interview, how he'd done it all while preserving Jason's dignity. But the real gift wasn't the money, Jason said. It was the lesson. Michael told me about a man named Raymond Hicks, a postal worker who'd helped Michael's family 40 years ago, who taught them that accepting help isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Jason told Raymond's story, how he'd helped Michael's family, how he'd told them to pay it forward, how that one act of kindness had rippled across 4 decades to save Jason and his family. Raymond Hicks died 30 years ago, Jason said, but his legacy is still changing lives, because Michael remembered, because he paid it forward, because he knocked on my door. Jason looked at Michael in the front row, saw him smiling, nodding, encouraging. Now it's my turn, I've helped 3 families this year, directly, given them the breathing room they needed to survive, to rebuild, to hope again. Jason's voice grew passionate. But 3 families isn't enough. That's why this foundation exists. To turn one person's kindness into a movement, to turn shame into support, to turn isolated struggles into community solutions. He pulled out a photo, the one of young Michael and Raymond Hicks, projected it onto the screen behind him. This photo was taken 40 years ago. One man helping one family. That's where this started. Jason paused. But it doesn't end there, because that family helped my family. My family is helping other families, and those families will help more families. The cycle continues. The debt gets paid forward. The world gets a little bit better. Jason looked out at the audience, saw people wiping tears, saw others nodding, saw recognition in their eyes. People who'd struggled, who understood, who'd been there. I'm asking you today to join this cycle, to knock on someone's door, to help a neighbor, to remember that nobody succeeds alone. Jason's voice grew thick with emotion. Because 18 months ago, I was drowning. Today, I'm standing on this stage. That's what one act of kindness can do. That's the power of paying it forward. The room erupted in applause. People stood. Jason looked at Zoe, who was clapping and crying. Looked at Michael, who was smiling with pride. Looked at James and Sarah, who were living proof that this worked. Jason stepped away from the microphone as the applause continued. He'd done it, told his story, shown his vulnerability, honored Raymond Hicks's legacy, and maybe, just maybe, inspired someone else to knock on a door, to help a neighbor, to start their own cycle of kindness. After the event, Jason was surrounded by people, donors wanting to contribute, community leaders asking how to replicate the model, media requesting interviews, but the moment that mattered most came from a woman in her 40s, tears streaming down her face. Mr. Holloway, my name is Jennifer. I'm 3 months behind on my mortgage. I've been too ashamed to ask for help, too proud to admit I'm failing. She wiped her eyes. But hearing your story, maybe it's okay to ask. Maybe accepting help isn't failure. Jason took her hand. It's not failure. It's courage. And yes, it's okay to ask. Can your foundation help me? Yes, we can help. Give me your information. Someone will contact you tomorrow. Jason smiled. You're not alone, Jennifer. Not anymore. She hugged him, hard, desperate, grateful. This was why he told his story. For this moment. For Jennifer. For everyone sitting at kitchen tables, drowning in shame, thinking they had to suffer alone. That night, Jason, Zoe, and Michael sat in Jason's backyard. It was late May, warm, stars bright above them, basketball sitting in the driveway, silent for once. You did good today, Michael said. Really good. Raymond would be proud. I hope so. Jason looked at the stars. I keep thinking about what you said, about how your dad felt when Raymond helped him. The shame, the gratitude, the confusion. It's complicated accepting help, even necessary help. Michael was quiet for a moment. My dad spent years paying Raymond back, not just the money, but in time, in friendship, in showing up when Raymond needed something. That's how he processed it, by being there. That's what I'm trying to do, be there for others. You're doing it, Michael smiled. 3 families directly helped, foundation reaching hundreds more. That's impact. Zoe spoke up from where she sat on the porch steps. How many families do you think will help? Total? Michael considered. This year, maybe 300 through the foundation. Next year, could be 1,000. After that, he shrugged. Sky's the limit. That's a lot of families, Zoe said softly. That's a lot of kids who won't have to worry about losing their homes. That's right. Jason looked at his daughter. And you're part of this, Zoe. Your $300 helped start it all. I've been thinking about that, Zoe said. I made the travel team all-tournament team last month. They gave me a $100 gift card. Can I donate it to the foundation? Jason felt tears building. You don't have to do that, sweetheart. I want to. Mom would want me to. Zoe stood, walked over to them. Besides, I have everything I need. Other kids don't. It's only fair. Michael looked at Jason. You're raising a good human. Elena raised her. I'm just trying not to mess it up. Jason pulled Zoe into a hug. Yes, you can donate it. Thank you. That's incredibly generous. They sat together under the stars. Three people bound by circumstance, by kindness, by legacy. Can I ask you something? Zoe said suddenly. Mr. Jordan, did you ever meet Raymond Hicks's family? After he died? Michael nodded. His wife, Dolores. His son, Jason. Actually, same name as your dad. Coincidence, but kind of perfect. He smiled. I met them at the funeral. Told them what Raymond had done for us. They cried. Said they knew he helped people, but never knew how many. Do they know about the foundation? They do now. I called them last month. Told them about the foundation in Raymond's name. About the families we're helping. About you two. Michael's voice grew thick. Dolores is 92 now, but she said Raymond would be so happy. Said this is exactly what he hoped for. That his kindness would multiply. Silence settled over them. Comfortable. Meaningful. I want to meet them, Jason said suddenly. Raymond's family. Want to thank them for raising someone who changed our lives. I'll arrange it. Michael stood, stretched. I should head home. Early flight tomorrow. Foundation meeting in New York. Thank you for being here tonight. For everything. Always. Michael headed toward the gate, then paused. Jason, remember that first night I knocked on your door? You asked me why I was helping, why I cared. I remember. I told you about Raymond, about paying it forward, but there's something else. Something I didn't say then. Michael turned back. You reminded me of my dad, but you also reminded me of myself, of the 11-year-old kid who watched his father cry, who felt helpless, who wanted to fix everything but couldn't. Jason listened, holding his breath. Helping you let me heal that, Michael said quietly. Let me be the person I needed when I was 11, the one who could stop the crying, who could save the family, who could make everything okay. His voice cracked slightly. So thank you for letting me help, for healing something in me I didn't even know was broken. Michael disappeared through the gate before Jason could respond. Jason stood in his backyard, Zoe beside him, processing what Michael had just revealed. The help hadn't just been about paying forward Raymond's kindness. It had been about healing Michael's own childhood trauma. About being for Jason what no one could be for his father all those years ago. Dad? Zoe's voice was small. Everyone needs help sometimes, right? Even people like Mr. Jordan? Yeah, sweetheart. Everyone needs help sometimes. In different ways. Jason hugged her. That's what makes us human. We need each other. They stood together under the stars, looking at the fence that had once been a barrier and was now a bridge, looking at the small house that had almost been lost and was now a home again, looking at the future that had seemed impossible and was now full of promise. 1 month later, Jason received a letter, handwritten, return address, Dolores Hicks, Cincinnati, Ohio. Jason opened it carefully. Inside was a single page of shaky handwriting in an old photograph. Dear Jason, Michael told me about you, about your family, about everything he did to help. I cried when I heard. Those were Raymond's tears, joy that his legacy continues. My Raymond believed people were fundamentally good, believed community mattered more than individual success, believed one person could change the world if they started with the person next door. He helped 23 families in his lifetime. 23. Some got jobs, some got food, some got their rent paid. All of them got hope. Now Michael has helped hundreds through his foundation. You've helped more. Those families will help others. The number will grow beyond counting. That's Raymond's real legacy. Not the 23 families he helped directly, but the thousands who will be helped because he started the cycle. The photo is Raymond holding our son Jason the day he was born. I want you to have it. You carry his name and his mission. That feels right. Thank you for honoring my husband. Thank you for continuing his work. Thank you for teaching your daughter what he taught the world. We're all in this together. With love and gratitude, Dolores Hicks P.S. Raymond always said, you can't change the whole world, but you can change someone's whole world. You changed Jennifer's, James Chen's, Sarah Mitchell's. Their whole worlds. That's everything. Jason stared at the photo. Raymond Hicks, younger, vibrant, holding a newborn baby. The same kind eyes Jason had seen in the other photo. The same gentle strength. He called Michael immediately. I got a letter from Dolores. I know. She told me she was writing to you. Michael's voice was warm. What did you think? I think Raymond Hicks was exactly who the world needed, and I think we're doing right by him. We are, but Jason, we're just getting started. The foundation is expanding. 3 more cities next year, maybe 10 the year after. Michael paused. And I want you to lead the expansion. Full-time. Director of Operations. Salary's $150,000. You'd build the teams, train the staff, set up the processes. Jason's head spun. Michael, I have a job. Robert just promoted me. I already talked to Robert. He's supportive. Says you're meant for this work. Says he saw it in you from the beginning. Michael's voice grew serious. This is your calling, Jason. Not logistics, not inventory management. This, helping families, building systems that multiply kindness, making Raymond's legacy permanent. Justin looked at the photo in his hands, at Raymond holding his son, at the man who'd started everything. Yes, Jason said. Yes, I'll do it. Good, because we have work to do. Families to help, lives to change, doors to knock on. They hung up. Jason sat at his kitchen table, the same table where everything had fallen apart, where everything had been saved, where everything had been rebuilt. Elena's paintings watched from the walls. Raymond's photo sat before him. Zoe's basketball trophies lined the shelf. This was home. This was family. This was purpose. And tomorrow, Jason would start his new job, would build systems to help thousands of families, would turn one man's kindness into a movement that would outlive all of them. The cycle continued. The debt was paid forward. And Jason Holloway, once a man facing foreclosure, now a man changing the world, smiled. Because Raymond Hicks had knocked on a door 40 years ago. Michael Jordan had knocked on his door 18 months ago. And now Jason would knock on thousands of doors. One impossible act of kindness at a time. Final scene. Thanksgiving Day. Jason, Zoe, and Michael sat around Michael's dining room table. Not the formal dining room, the kitchen table. Intimate. Family style. Also present, James Chen and his daughters, Sarah Mitchell and her kids, Robert Huang and his wife, Patricia from the community center, Terrence. A dozen people connected by kindness, by struggle overcome, by community built. Before they ate, Michael stood, raised his glass. I want to say something about gratitude, about family, about Raymond Hicks. He looked around the table. 40 years ago, a man knocked on my family's door, changed our lives with one act of kindness. That kindness rippled forward, touched Jason's family, James's family, Sarah's family, dozens more. Everyone listened. Some nodded, some wiped tears. But here's what Raymond understood that took me years to learn. Helping others isn't about charity. It's about community. It's about recognizing we're all connected, that your struggle is my struggle, that your success is my success, that we rise together or we don't rise at all. Michael looked at Jason. So thank you, Jason, for letting me help, for teaching me that being Raymond Hicks isn't about money. It's about showing up, about seeing people, about knocking on doors. Jason stood. And thank you, Michael, for being the neighbor we needed, for seeing us when we felt invisible, for teaching Zoe, teaching all of us that the world still has good people in it. Zoe stood too, surprising everyone. And thank you to Raymond Hicks. Even though he's not here, everything good that happened to us started with him. So, she raised her juice glass. To Raymond Hicks, and to everyone who knocks on doors. To Raymond Hicks, everyone echoed. They ate together, laughed together, shared stories of struggle and triumph, made plans to help more families. And outside, through the window, the fence between Michael's estate and Jason's small house stood solid. No longer a barrier, a connection, a reminder that neighbors become family, that strangers become saviors, that one knock can change everything. That kindness multiplies across time, that Raymond Hicks's legacy was eternal. Because the debt wasn't just paid back, it was paid forward, again and again and again. One family at a time, one knock at a time, one impossible act of kindness at a time, forever. So where are you watching this from? Drop your country or city in the comments below. We'd love to know how far this message of kindness has traveled. If this story touched your heart, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Help us spread these stories of hope and kindness to more people who need to hear them. Raymond Hicks started a chain of kindness 40 years ago that's still changing lives today. You can be part of that chain too. Click on the video appearing on your screen right now for another incredible story that will inspire you to knock on someone's door and change their world. Remember, you can't change the whole world, but you can change someone's whole world. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.